more likely that the Fed will start cutting interest rates sometime soon, and that's something the financial markets have been eagerly awaiting. Hamas may be a no-show at tomorrow's Gaza ceasefire talks, the terror group vowing to boycott the talks. At the same time, Iran continues threatening to attack Israel. President Biden still hopeful for an easing of tensions in the volatile Mideast.
Getting hard. We'll see what Iran does, and we'll see what happens if there's any attack. But I'm not giving up.
Meanwhile, the administration has green-lighted the sale of an additional $20 billion worth of arms to Israel. Ukrainian forces pressing a major cross-border offensive into the Kursk region of Russia for a second week.
Russia has said it has managed to stop a Ukrainian military attempt to expand its incursion into Russia. An attempt to broaden the week-long Ukrainian incursion deeper into the Kursk region was blocked by Russian army units, aircraft and drones. Meanwhile, a Ukrainian official has said the cross-border operation was aimed at protecting Ukrainian land from long-range strikes launched from Kursk. He added that Ukraine had no intention of taking the territory. Ukraine's Western partners have said the country has the right to defend itself, including by attacking across the border. I'm Karen Chamas.
It is being billed as a major economic address. Trump campaign says it will be delivered today when the former president pays a visit to Asheville, North Carolina. Democrat Kamala Harris due to travel to North Carolina on Friday. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures 3 points higher. NASDAQ futures up 31. S&P futures better by 7 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-TERM-LIFE. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-TERM-LIFE. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-TERM-LIFE. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-TERM-LIFE. That's 800-TERM-LIFE.
A court in Thailand has fired the country's prime minister over an appointment he made to his cabinet, former lawyer who had served jail time.
Nobody in Thailand will be under any illusion. This will be seen as a political verdict. And once again, Thailand's top court, the Constitutional Court, it's the third time it's sacked a prime minister, it's dismissed governments, it's had multiple parties dissolved. This is now, the court now looks like one of the most powerful institutions in the country, along with the monarchy and the military, and it appears as though elected governments can come and go at the will of the judges in the court rather than at the will of the electorate. That's what many Thais will now believe.
The BBC's Jonathan Head in Bangkok. Germany's defense ministry says investigators looking into suspicions of unauthorized entry and possible sabotage at a major military barracks in the west of the country. The German news agency DPA says a hole has been found in a fence, and there is unconfirmed suspicion that the facility's water supply may have been tampered with. Townhall.com. A Trump campaign office has been burglarized.
The Loudoun County, Virginia Sheriff's Office says it happened Sunday at an Ashburn office being leased by the Trump for President 2024 campaign. It also serves as the headquarters of the Virginia 10th District Republican Committee. The Sheriff's Office says it has surveillance video that shows someone wearing dark clothing with a dark cap with a backpack breaking in and going through the office. It isn't clear whether anything was stolen, but an investigation continues. The campaign and the Republican Committee have not commented. Keith Peters reporting.
There is word this morning of a huge deal in the snack food industry. Mars, whose brands include M&M's, Snickers, and Skittles, is buying food company Kellanova. The deal's worth roughly $30 billion. And it will give Mars access to a large portfolio of consumer brands, ranging from Cheez-It to Pop-Tarts. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat.
Yeah, come on. I feel the heart wave. shoulder, and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number, I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it, flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ, the travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio, I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Kind of a middle of the week. Another hot one, but it's kind of overcast this morning. We got a little rain or rain-like event last night, at least sort of. And then, believe it or not, it's going to be hot again today. I mean, they're talking a high of 100, but they have tacked on a slight chance of some rain showers this afternoon. We got like a 20%, so maybe we'll see more spitlings like yesterday there. Big thank you and congratulations to the Historical Society of Southeast New Mexico, Troy Hayes and his family. As last night we had the Heritage Dinner honoring Troy Hayes and having a delightful meal. Peppers knocked it out of the park as they usually do. Dinner was delicious, and we had a great, successful event. Thank you to every single person that purchased boxes and bundles and paid it forward to other folks and doing all that. We had another successful event. In terms of fundraising, yes, we did. We had another good event there, and thank you to everyone that supported that, and thank you to the Troy Hayes and his family for being a part of this and doing the great work that they do. And I hope that him and his family truly feel appreciated after last night. So I hope they do, because they are very much appreciated. So hopefully that message rang true last night for them for that. But the food was great. Peppers did an amazing job. The dinner consisted of 2 entrees when you get your meal box, and one was a prime rib, which it's prime rib. You can't go wrong with prime rib. And then their chicken arpois, which was delightful as well, plus fully loaded baked potato, a vegetable medley, appetizer of cocktail shrimp that once again were very large and very tasty, salad, and brownie for 2 for dessert, which I ain't gonna lie, I have not eaten the brownie yet. We still have, my wife and I did not get to the brownie last night, so we will be partaking in that. And the reason why is because we kind of got a double dessert, and you're like, because when you got a box, you got the little gift bag. You're thinking it's got some mementos and things that Troy wanted, some thoughts and things that he wanted to share with everyone. They got a box and things like that. But also in the bag was a little sack of biscochitos from El Toro Bravo. And so Kim and I think, polished off 2/3 of that bag last night after consuming copious amounts of meat and dinner. And so we didn't get to the brownie. I was like, we got biscochitos. Let's bust into those. So we actually used the biscochitos as our dessert last night, because them biscochitos are just so good. But anyway, big thank you to everyone that was involved and got the volunteers, to the board members, everyone that showed up and helped out last night, everyone that bought boxes. It was another successful rent, and even the rain wasn't a problem. It kind of was doing this weird, it would spittle for a minute, sprinkle, and then stop. Wind would pick up like it's going to do something nasty, and then spittle for a minute and then stop. It was very, no one got soaked because it didn't rain long enough, I don't think, for anyone to stand around and get soaked. But thankful for moisture, never going to complain, but maybe we'll get some more today. But it was not a problem, and it was great. We worked. Oh, by the way, too, I finally got some of the homemade bread. We have some awesome people that make delicious homemade bread and donate it to allow to sell at the Historical Society for just additional fundraiser. And every time they do the bread, I always miss it because usually I'm working the event. Sometimes I'm delivering meals. Sometimes I'm, just standing around and guiding people and doing whatever. Sometimes it's, hey, can you grab this and move this here or that? Whatever. I'm just kind of do whatever. So I usually miss out because by the time I think about it, they've already sold out all the bread and everything else. So yesterday it was kind of about 5 o'clock before people started coming to pick up their tickets and all that good stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm staring at the bread thing and I'm like, wait a minute, what's stopping me from grabbing one now? So I literally walked over, said, I know we haven't started yet, but here's $10. Give me a loaf of this bread. I grabbed it and I procured it and stuck it in the back of my car to save it. So I also got some of the delicious homemade bread. And I hope all of you that were able to get that got it, because that bread's a 10 and it is delicious. So I have not tried it yet because I was busy eating all the other things last night. So maybe today we'll bust into that bread. Makes good sandwiches. I got some ham at the house. All right. I think I'm smelling an idea for lunch or dinner today. Homemade bread, ham sandwiches. Sounding good. Thinking we have some pimento cheese too. You ever done that? I recommend it. If you've never done that, a ham and pimento cheese sandwich. Pretty good stuff. It's not bad. My father-in-law got me introduced to it. And it was during Thanksgiving, when you have leftover things like pimento and all that. And so when Thanksgiving, we had ham and turkey. And, of course, they do the thing where you put the pimento cheese and the celery kind of deal. And so we had extra homemade pimento. And he's like, here, put this on a sandwich. And I ain't going to lie. It's the best way to do it. Now, that being said, it's better with homemade pimento. Like you can buy the pimento cheese spread at the store, and it's all right. But the homemade's way better. And it's way better on a sandwich. Just a tip. And it's not hard to make pimento cheese. You just buy pimento cheese and Google it. It's really easy. Let me give you the rundown. We do have a full slate for you for today's show. We're going to, here in just a few minutes, we're going to have an interview with the Chaves County Federated Republican Women. Joan and Janine, Joan Bouet, Janine Best will join us. And next week, 1 week from today, is the monthly Chaves County Federated Republican Women's meeting. So we'll talk about that, invite everyone to come out, talk about the candidate meal, all the good stuff. There's a big action-packed meeting for next Wednesday. Obviously, as we get, we're just months away from election here. It's hard to believe. Presidential election's months away. It's just, I don't know. I know they've been talking about it for like 2 years, it seems like, but it's hard to believe. It's like, no, it's just a couple months away. It feels like it's another eon away, but it's not. So, but we'll play our interview here and get the update on the Chaves County Federated Republican Women from Jean and Joan, and then, of course, talk about next week's meeting. In the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:15, Superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District, Brian Luck, scheduled to join us, and, of course, he'll give us an update of the last school board meeting and anything else happening in and around the school district this morning. Then in the 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, we're going to replay our interview we had with Dr. Sean Powell over at Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Of course, this week is the final week for registration. Well, the final week of registration before school begins, because next week school starts over at ENMUR, and you can add, drop, change, and all that next week. But without school in session, to sign up and be on time for the first class, you need to get all that signed up this week. So we talk with Dr. Powell about that. Also talk about the bond election coming up. I said election just around the corner, and talking about with the bond election, some of the things that not only ENMUR will benefit from if you vote yes on the bond election, which you should, but same with NMMI. We also talk a little bit about the other bonds with the libraries and senior centers. So I vote yes on those, and you should too. But they can't tell you that, but I can. So we talk with Dr. Powell about all that. Plus, we'll have all of your features that include the newses of the local national variety, Wall Street business update, Chaves County sports update, and whatever else we can come up with for today's show. But first, a gander at your weather. A little hot, maybe a little rain, but a lot of hot.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We do have a little bit of tropical air moving in from the south and west, so we could see a few afternoon showers or thunderstorms today. Plenty of sunshine, though, and staying pretty hot. Afternoon highs at about 100. Overnight, some clouds and down to 70, and then dry air is back in place on Thursday. We'll be in the low 100s again and sunny, as high as 105 and sunny on Friday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 76 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity's at 58%. Winds are calm at the moment. Yes, they are saying there's a 20% chance that we could see some showers and thunderstorms after 3 today. Mostly sunny with highs near 100. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour, which is better than yesterday. They're saying we're supposed to be like hot 104 today. So I'll take 100 with a slight chance of rain. That's a better forecast. Mostly clear tonight with an overnight low of 71. South winds 5 to 10. Thursday, sunny, back in the 103. Southwest winds 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, clear, overnight low of 73. East winds at around 5 miles per hour. Friday, sunny, 105 for a high. Yeah, keeps getting hotter. Southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Friday night, clear skies with an overnight low of 74. For the weekend, Saturday, sunny, 105 for a high. Saturday night, clear with an overnight low of 73. Sunny and 103 on Sunday. Clear Sunday night, overnight low of 73. And then continues hot in the next week. 105 Monday of next week, 105 Tuesday of next week. So, I ain't gonna lie, enjoy today. It's better than the rest of it. All right, it is 7:16. We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And then on the other side of the break, we'll be joined by Joan and Janine with the Chaves County Federated Republican Women talking about their upcoming meeting next Wednesday. That's up next. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters. Hope you're having a good morning. I ain't going to lie. All that food I was talking about, it was a lot of food. And I'm kind of paying the price this morning. Eyes are bigger than the stomach. I ain't going to lie. So I hope your day's going better than mine. I'm about to go burp.
Check out some of the bargains you'll find this week at your local Farmers Country Market. Kraft Mac and Cheese 5-packs are $4.88 each. Select varieties of 12-count Kellogg's Pop-Tarts are 2 for $7, and bottles of Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce are 2 for $4. In produce, golden pineapples are $2.99 each, and jumbo mangoes are just 99 cents each. In the meat department, family packs of boneless sirloin cut pork chops are $1.79 a pound, and family packs of split fryer breasts are just $1.49 a pound. These are just some of the savings you'll find this week at your local Farmers Country Market.
Edge Safety and Services, LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for roustabout crew and a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screening. Edge Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 2801 North Freeman in Artesia. Edge Safety and Services is an equal opportunity employer.
A comedian once said, "No one can tell me anything, not even myself." Hi, this is Pastor Troy and Julie Smotherman for The Joy of Marriage.
You know, most people stop listening and start forming an answer or response when someone's talking to them within 7 seconds, so they miss most of the information.
John 10:27 says, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me."
You know, when Julie and I were preparing for this, she looked right at me after I spoke for a while and said, "What?" I guess we all have work to do in listening. But you know what? Just like learning to know God takes time and focus and to know His voice, it's going to take time and focus to really get to know our spouse and to really start enjoying and loving marriage.
If you have any questions or would like further information about the Joy of Marriage Ministry, please go to jomconference.com.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Elephants use these skin folds on their bodies to crush mosquitoes. Mike Winters uses his to hide M&Ms. Here's Mike Winters.
And welcome back to the morning show. And joining us in the studio this morning, back from the Chaves County Federated Republican Women, Joan and Janine back with us. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Good morning.
Doing well. How about yourselves?
We are busy.
Busy. You know
We're
what?
busy.
It feels a million miles away, but at the same time, it feels like it's tomorrow.
56 days or something until the election.
Like you say November, and that feels like a million miles away. But in terms, it's only like 2 months away. And
It's true.
We're going to be pulling levers or checking boxes here.
You're right.
Candidates here.
You're right.
Yes, I would imagine it's a very important time here.
It is.
And obviously, folks have seen the world in which we live in, and I don't care to be honest, I don't care what side of the fence you're on. You're probably not happy. I mean, you're literally, if you're the most liberal person, you're mad at something, and the most conservative, you're mad at something. Everybody's mad right now, which means decisions being made in the fall are that much more important.
Vote. Oh, my gosh.
Exactly.
Vote. We need to get out the vote. That's the most important thing right now is getting out the vote.
Absolutely. And, of course, obviously, for folks not familiar, the Chaves County Federated Republic of Women, their job is to serve the Republican Party here in Chaves County, ultimately for the state of New Mexico. It's a branch of a bigger thing. But it's a forum for anybody to come. They have their monthly meetings, which is that third Wednesday of the month. So we got one coming. Hence the reason our ladies are joining us this morning to invite out for their next meeting, which will be next Wednesday, one week from today when you're hearing this. And so you get to come out. And this time of year, there's a bigger focus on Republican candidates. So the people, obviously the primary's done and gone, so there's less Republicans. We kind of figured out which are the ones we get to choose and which ones are gonna try next time. But but now's the time to hear the message. Hear what's going on. If you're wanting to get involved with these campaigns, especially in the local level, some of these state legislative Senate races, or I don't know, some are uncontested at this point, but there's one or two out there that still got some fight going on. Or if you want to get in on our U.S. House seat races here. Depending on where you live in Roswell, you might be in one of all three, just depending on what part of town you're in.
That is so true. They have chopped Chaves County into 3 congressional districts.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's well, and this is what happens when there's no checks and balances in your government. And that's why we need checks and balances again. And the only way we're going to get those back is for you to make sure that you exercise your right to vote here in November.
Amen.
It's the only way. Arguing with people on Facebook ain't going to get it done.
No.
Reading memes on social media to make you to form your opinions ain't going to get it done.
Amen.
Watching 10-second news clips on some jaded opinion ain't going to get it done. You're going to have to get your butt out there.
Get out and vote.
Hear it all. Hear the people you agree with. Hear the people you don't agree with. And generally, if you gather all that information, you'll probably find where the truth is sometimes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Instead of the slant at which people are trying to present it to you. And so so the meetings on Wednesday are one of those opportunities. You've got the candidate in the flesh, standing on a podium, depending on where you're sitting, feet from you, and they're there before and after. If you want to come up and meet, shake a hand, or say, why are you, what's your stance on this? You get to talk directly to the person that you're going to be or not going to be pulling that lever for.
We're very blessed here in Chaves County. There are 15 positions, I believe, on the ballot, and they are all Republican, and none of them have opposition.
Oh, good. So you really get
in Chaves County.
So you get to really hear about what they're going on, but and be an active participant in shaping. Because let's face it, your politicians are there to do the will of the people that put them there. Whether, even if they don't agree with it sometimes, if the will of the people want that, that's what they're supposed to do. And so you need to remind even your Republican friends that sometimes.
Well, we have an incredibly exciting meeting coming up on the 21st.
Excellent. Let's get into it.
And the doors open at 11:30. And we do provide lunch if you would like to eat for $17.
All right. I'll ask in a minute, but I want to get to the important part first. I'm going to wait patiently.
And if you don't want to eat, that's fine. Just come and have a seat and join us.
And come and listen.
So this month we have U.S. Senate candidate Nella Domenici.
Excellent.
She is coming to give us her message. And that's
great, because I bet a lot of people know much more about her father than her. So this is a great chance to kind of learn.
Exactly.
Like what I knew you had a daughter, but I really don't know much about you. And let's face it, she hasn't grown up in a world of politics. She's gone off and lived her own life, and now is coming back.
Absolutely.
Probably, like much of people, ticked off of what's going on and said, I need to roll up my sleeve and get involved here. So now here's your chance to sit down and maybe have a visit with her.
And the reality is, if you believe in the polls, or you want to look at polls, they are neck and neck. Mm-hmm. She's neck and neck with Heinrich,
which is a win for us, to be honest. In this state to be neck and neck in anything,
right,
is a win.
right now, you're right. We also are going to have our legislators come back, those of that are available.
Okay.
Because we would like a review of what went on in this special session.
Sure.
So we will have Representatives Jim Townsend.
Shouldn't take long. What, it lasts about 15 minutes the whole time?
I think it was 5 hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
5 whole hours.
So maybe there was a few things.
And a ton of our taxpayers' money.
Gotcha.
So we'll have Jim Townsend.
Yeah, that's the big thing. It's like, how many millions of dollars are wasted for this hot mess?
Oh, my gosh.
How many people could have been fed with that? Or how many?
Yeah,
exactly.
So Jim Townsend will be there. Candy Spencer-Zell will be there. Jared Hambry and Jimmy Mason, who are all of our legislators.
So you get to get Eddy County and Chavez County, kind of the whole southeast New Mexico.
They all have a part of Chavez County, maybe 1 or 2 precincts.
Yeah.
But they still have a part.
Well, the way they gerrymandered the lines here, they might have a road in Chavez County that they're covering.
And one other thing I'd like to mention, we have sponsors for each of our meetings, and it kind of helps defray the cost.
It does get expensive to feed a couple hundred people every month.
Right.
That's a big check.
Well, yeah, and even though they're paying for their meal, we have to pay for the event place.
Absolutely.
For the venue.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, nothing is free.
Nothing is free.
No. The other thing I might want to mention is that the Republican Party...
Oh, who's our sponsor? I don't think you mentioned.
Oh, I will be glad to mention them. It's Kay Jones, and Kay is our chaplain.
All right.
And it's Patty Evans, and Patty is our scholarship chair.
Well, thanks.
So these two ladies basically chipped in, and they will be our sponsors for this month. But I think I'll turn it over to Janine and let her tell you about our menu.
All right, this is the part I know.
This is the part you like the best.
In all fairness, I've already made up my mind who I'm voting for. Nothing personal. I know I've got it set. I'm good. So I'm there to eat.
There you go. That's easy.
I made up my mind.
All to the heart, to the tummy. So we're having spaghetti and meatballs.
Awesome.
Caesar salad.
Little Italian fare for August here.
A little Italian, garlic toast, and all of that jazz. So, pasta.
You're not going to be hungry because pasta fills. There's a reason why all these Olympic swimmers eat 80 pounds of pasta.
Yep.
Because it's good tackling fuel.
Correct.
So you're going to be good to go for the afternoon after that.
Correct. So that's my little bit. I do want to say that absentee voting starts October 8th.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We talked about November, and it's like we're weeks away from.
Yeah, I don't care how you vote. If you even are in town and you feel that you don't want to go anywhere to vote, call your county clerk.
Absolutely.
Ask for an absentee ballot, and you have to get it in by November 5th.
They literally make it so easy to vote.
Oh, my goodness.
Compared to when we grew up,
my goodness.
Yes.
So different.
And so many polling places.
So people that really don't have that excuse anymore. I can't get. No, you have a huge window and plenty of opportunities. Lack of opportunity to vote is not an excuse anymore. You have opportunity. You got to get now. But yes, you do have to register. You have to register to vote, whether it's a Republican or Democrat or Martian or none of the above.
Well,
you have to
your early voting starts October 19th. So get out and vote.
Yep.
Roswell Mall, Hagerman Joy Center, Dexter Central Office, County Clerk's Office. Get out and vote. If you want your life to get better.
Well, and this is something New Mexico, southeast New Mexico in particular, has a problem, is voter turnout.
Yes.
Every single election, regardless of the actual outcome of the race, who won or what, doesn't matter. You look at the actual number of people voting, and it's downright disappointing.
Mike, do you know what the percentage was in the primary of Republican voters?
I don't even, is it?
33%.
That's just,
30.
That's embarrassing.
33%. And we are a Republican red county.
Yeah.
But I guarantee there's a lot more than 33% spewing their thoughts on social media and everywhere else. And it's like, if you're doing that and you're not going in to vote, I'm sorry.
You're wasting my time and your time.
You're a complete hypocrite, and you're a complete.
And you've got to investigate on your vote.
Absolutely.
If you're not happy with the other side, go over and look at it.
And the onus is on you because and I get it. It's hard, especially folks maybe our age that had maybe grew up in a more trusting of certain sources and things. All of that is out the window.
There is no more Walter Cronkite.
Exactly. That's what
sorry.
That's what I mean. And so. especially people our age, almost have to train ourselves to say the places you usually go to get these things aren't as reliable as
Correct.
they used to be.
Use your common sense.
Yeah. Social media, it's a blessing and a curse. It really is. Yes. When in terms of freedom, and I tend to lean, I'm like, do what you want and accept the consequences for that. That's kind of my life.
Just vote.
That's my, I'm even more libertarian than some of that, where I'm like, look, it ain't the government's job to be telling you this stuff. You know whose job it is? The society and things. Yeah. That will work itself out. And if you do something dumb, then there's consequences for that, and you're going to have to reap them. And that's my point too. Is like, do what you want, be responsible, and if you do something dumb, we're not going to bail you out.
Correct.
The dumbness is just going to happen, and that's the way I kind of lean. I know, societies and all that, but voting's much like that nowadays. You cannot just go and watch one thing. You need to get your butt on CNN and Fox News and MSNBC
and look at all of it.
News Nation and all of it. You need to go online.
Use your head.
And you're going to see vast, like I'm telling you, you could just do yourself a favor. Pick one event, done just something, and then go watch a Fox News coverage of that one event, and then a CNN News version coverage of that same event. And you will get two entirely different stories.
Yes.
And that's what you need. The onus is on you to go and learn the truth.
It really is an honor and a privilege, but it is also a responsibility to this country for you to get out to vote.
Absolutely.
And I think if everyone would just take a look at their life back 4 years ago.
That's the best. That's the biggest, you can't argue that.
Yeah.
Because people say, are you living better now than you were 4 years ago?
No.
And I defy, there's a...
No.
1% maybe could answer that question, yes. And most of us, no, we can't answer.
I know some seniors that have to make a decision if they are going to buy a little extra groceries or they're going to pick up their prescription.
Yeah. And the thing is, there's more and more people that are doing that.
Yeah.
Like there's always going to be people that, are in need. That's just, if there's humanity, there's going to be, whether it's through their own irresponsibilities or life just gave them a bad deck of cards, regardless, that happens. But when you see more and more people doing that, and people that may have never done that for the first time in their life or haven't done it in 20, 30 years, that's what we're talking about. This is the sign. When people that normally didn't have these issues are now having these issues, that's a huge red flag. And then the people that always had that issues are now worse off than before.
And these old folks have worked hard to enjoy their retirement, and now they're not enjoying it because they're stressing over where the next meal's coming from.
Absolutely.
They
ridiculous.
They're concerned.
Yeah.
I would like to mention that we do support the Republican Party of Chaves County.
Yes.
They are not part of the.
Right.
Those.
You don't get a seat at the table with the official, but you're there as a supporter.
Absolutely.
And a
And so we're getting tons of phone calls. Where can I get a Trump sign? We've been getting those calls. So I would like to mention that the Republican Party of Chaves County will be having their grand opening next Wednesday, the 21st.
Okay.
From 5 until 7 p.m. And their new office is at 108 East Linda Vista.
Okay.
And it will be open during the week for a few hours.
Okay.
The county has had to pay for these signs. They're not charging people, but they are going to ask for a donation.
Okay.
And I might.
But if you don't have one, no biggie. But if you can, that would be great.
And they will be having refreshments that evening from 5 to 7.
Sweet. So don't get any punch on your Trump sign.
Pick up your sign on the way out.
That's right. Put it in the car and then go in and get into the finger foods in the front.
So that's the same day as our luncheon. So just make Wednesday Republican Day.
We'll call it
go to our
kill
luncheon.
2 birds and go to the luncheon and then head on to the grand opening afterwards and get
go
your
home,
Trump
take
sign.
a nap, and then come back.
Yeah,
to
get a
the
little
random,
R&R and let the spaghetti settle.
And there will be other yard signs. There will be yard signs for Nell Domenici.
Okay. So we can get the other, collect all the set.
and the 3 congressional district people will have their materials there. So you can pick up your materials that you're not familiar with, candidates, or pick up your yard sign.
And that's north of town.
Okay, very good.
Towards the north. Linda Vista is the little roundy round up north of town.
Okay. Yes.
On the east side of Main Street.
And if you're lost, shoot a message on the Chaves County Facebook
I believe it's across
Women's
from
Facebook
Papa
page.
Murphy's.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I kind of know exactly what you're talking about. It's like Roswell. You can't get that lost.
I believe it's a strip mall. Am I right?
Yeah, it's a strip mall, and it's across from Papa Murphy's
Okay.
and Farm Bureau Insurance on
Yes.
the east side of that street.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes. So keep going on
I
North
think
Main. It'll be on your.
Martin's Jewelry is there now.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's just north, or this is south of Martin's Jewelry, so it's kind of in that neighborhood.
So as you're heading north on Main, it'll be on your right side.
Correct.
You're
Correct.
Correct.
Right around Papa Murphy's there.
Yes.
Which is on your left side.
Correct.
Look on the right. As you know where Papa Murphy's is, start looking on your right, and then you'll see Linda Vista in the loop there.
Exactly.
So but they come out to the grand opening. Come meet if you want to volunteer, because I've got to imagine the more volunteers, the more hours that office can be open.
Yes.
Just saying. If there's one volunteer, then that office ain't open for
Correct.
everybody. But if you got
I think
if you're
they're
thinking
open from 2 to 6,
2 to
3 days a week.
6. I think
Okay.
that's what I heard. Yes.
Well, if you want to get more involved and volunteer, or if you want to get, but maybe you get enough folks to do that, we can extend the hours and make it available for more people.
That's
to come in.
that's true. I know that they always want 2 people working.
Yeah.
Nobody works alone.
That's probably
so
smart.
They
Well,
always
let's
have
face
2.
it, the nature of the work does draw out people
Correct.
that aren't always stable in their decision making skills.
Correct.
Boy, that is so true. Oh
So
my
for
gosh.
protection and things like that, obviously.
Correct.
But sure, come if you want to get involved. This is good. Come out to the luncheon on Wednesday. Come out to the grand opening. If you want, maybe there's a particular candidate. Maybe you're like, I want to get involved with the Nella Da Vinci campaign. How do I do that? Come out Wednesday. Her people, she will be there. They'll talk to you about, if you have questions about policy or whatever. But if you do want to get involved,
And
in
you're
the
going to see
campaign-
her that afternoon at lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know that she'll be at the opening. I mean, I don't know
but
that.
she'll be there at lunch.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can
she'll
talk
be
to
at
her.
lunch.
That's all I'm talking about. At the
Correct.
lunch. While you're at the luncheon there,
Yeah.
talk to her. Get maybe wipe your hands so you don't get spaghetti on her dress. When you
Well,
shake her
that's
hand.
true.
But other than that,
Yeah.
get to talk to her,
This is-
and then you say, "Hey, look, I want to get in the campaign. What can I do?" And then they'll tell you. So you can get on the phones and or knocking on doors or whatever they need you to do. So yeah.
That works.
Well, we really appreciate you giving us the time
Anytime.
to speak to your audience.
Absolutely. And to be honest, if the Democrats were having one of these, I'd invite them too. But I haven't heard of one, so.
I'd love to hear the other side.
I've won it, but and then, to be honest, and I'm not trying to play, but I guess I am. But I would like to have all 3 of our current reps in a room, just to ask them, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be like a jerk. I'm just like,
What's your goal?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, what's your goal?
I mean, I keep hearing the same tent pole crap that the Democrats keep tent polling, and and they all regurgitate that real good. But I'm like, what up? What's your brain telling you on things?
Exactly.
And I don't hear any of that.
Exactly. Just tell me what your goal is, and maybe we can get on board.
So I would love that. So if
I don't
please,
know.
Democrats, have that event. We invite them here and let us talk to them.
Yeah.
Please, please, please.
I'm not. I don't even. Do they even have an office in Roswell?
They don't have an office in Roswell. They
I
have one in
honestly don't
Lincoln
know.
County.
So
okay.
In Lincoln County, it's on Suttereth.
Any industrious Democrats out there, get on the stick and work for your party.
Yeah.
So give people information, please.
This is a neutral radio station, so it's easy
Absolutely.
to come. And,
yeah, obviously you guys want to vote Republicans here, but at the end of the day, I want people to make informed decisions. I hope it's basically because I'm leaning
it's a
conservative.
safe space, guys. It's a safe space.
But I hope you vote that way. But at the end of the day, I just hope you vote educated. I get it.
Exactly.
People don't think like I do, and you don't
sense.
have to. That's the beauty of this country. We can all disagree. As long as we all agree that we want a great country, we want to make it a great country, and whatever we're doing is in the guise of that as opposed to something else, then we're good. Correct. We're copacetic.
We're not great right now.
No.
We are not
hurting.
great right now.
Yeah.
We're hurting.
When I see some of the rules and regulations that they have imposed on us, it's actually very sad.
And like I say every time, they're not going to take this away. There's not going to be an army of people just marching in and go on martial law overnight. That's not how this stuff works. What's going to happen is exactly what you're talking about. A policy here, this and that, and slowly making you think that you're needed, that they are needed in your life, and that's how they do it. They slowly, it's how you make friends. You don't come in there all boisterous. You come in there a little at a time, and next thing you know, I need you in my life. That's what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing.
They've taken over.
Mm-hmm.
They have taken over our life.
And this is where you got to be smart enough to understand that and know. And the only way you change that, it's back to where we started.
Correct.
Voting in November.
Correct. Please.
That's it.
Please.
And it's
all the
simple.
other stuff is window
Starts
dressing.
October 8th at the county.
Yep.
And goes from there.
That's right. Get in there and vote. If you, for whatever reason, didn't vote in the primary, do not make this mistake in the general election.
Exactly.
Come out, vote. Vote for the people that truly, and study.
Yep.
Do your research. If you can tell me this, and this, why you're supporting them, if I disagree with their candidate, but you can tell me legitimate reasons why, I respect that.
Yep.
And I will continue to respect
October 8th.
There
Monday
you go.
through Fridays, 8 to 5 at the county clerk.
That's the early voting. And
That's the early voting.
We'll start up right around that time.
Saturdays, 10 to 6.
Yeah.
So.
And if you're not sure where you're affiliated with or who's your congressperson or whatever, you can always call the Chaves County Clerk's office. They'll be happy. I don't have the web address off the top of my head, but there is like a New Mexico state version of that clerk's office, and you can go look up your voting history. You
the Secretary of State.
The Secretary of State's office website, and you can go through there and you can see your entire voting history in New Mexico.
Yes. Yes.
Now, if you're from another state, like you can't see my votes from high school or 18 because I voted in Maryland back then. But
okay.
But all my New Mexico stuff.
We can snoop.
I can snoop. To be honest, I don't know. I was a younger person. I might have made some weird choices.
I bet you're very well informed.
Nowadays, yeah, I'm well entrenched in my complainingness. Then maybe we'll go with that. So
good.
I'm a little. I like to think I'm flexible, but I'm really not. I'm kind of like I'm too old to be flexible. But I know it's not a good thing to think, but kind of what I do. But anyway.
So the county clerk's phone number is 575-624-6614, and they can direct you.
Yes, they can direct you. And if you want to change party affiliations or if you moved.
Exactly.
And you haven't updated that information.
Get it done.
Get it done now. Because if you don't do that, you'll get to vote, but it might not be for the people that actually represent you.
Correct.
Depending on where you move to.
True.
Correct.
And by the way, we mentioned they did a whole gerrymandering redistricting. And
oh, yeah. It's a nightmare.
Nothing's the same.
No.
I have to double check now on who I'm like, is it 1 or 3 now? I keep forgetting.
Exactly.
And I have to go look. And it's, okay.
Yeah.
I think you're 3.
Yeah.
Congressional District 3.
Yeah. It and I'm in that area by the hospital where it's kind of iffy. Where, depending on what roads you're on, you're in 1 or in 3.
Exactly.
But anyway, clerk's office can help you with that. If
they can. Confused. They can tell you exactly where to go.
And then come on out next Wednesday. What is the actual date of that?
21st.
The 21st. 11:30 at the Convention and Civic Center. Come out for
Peppers is the cook.
Peppers is on, and they're going Italian with spaghetti and garlic bread and meatballs and the whole deal there.
Yep.
And then, of course, we'll have Nella Domenici, Senate candidate, Republican Senate candidate, running against Martin Heinrich for that seat there. And which, sorry, I'll say it off air. I'll say it afterwards. I was going to make something I found, but we'll wait. I gotta play
nice.
neutral here. So, but yes. So come out next Wednesday. There'll be a chance to meet her here. Obviously, she's going to speak, so you get to hear it. But if you want to ask questions, if you want to get more involved in the campaign, or quite frankly, if you want to ask some hardball questions, and
you have to ask her a few hardball questions because there's an ad out there that's a lie.
Yeah. And that's just it. You got to. And so
there's an ad out there that's a lie. So go to her straight and ask her and get it from the horse's mouth.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's just it. And this is truly unfortunate too. And it's both sides. This is not a one party thing. Your political ads, what 99% of them, and it's both sides. There's one fabric of a little shred of truth that got stretched out into the thing. Yep. So some candidate voted for or against a particular bill. And it had one caveat about something about babies or kids or something like that. And then it was loaded with 10 other things that had nothing to do with that actually turned the bill from a good bill to a bad bill.
Yes.
And then they vote for or against it. And then the attack ad will come out saying, they don't like kids. Yeah. And you're like, I like kids. I didn't like that bill because of the other stuff. But you don't get to explain that in an ad. All they hear is, your candidate doesn't like kids. And now they're like, did you hear? My candidate don't like kids. I'm going for the other guy.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what's going on here. So you gotta be smart on
Use your heart and common sense.
Yep.
And don't trust everything that you hear on social media or TV.
Shoot.
Do not trust it.
Come talk to Nella.
Yeah. Shoot, in the VR world and all this other stuff, I can't even trust the videos, and it's like the picture speaks 1,000 words. Like, not anymore. It does not about being 1,000 wrong words. But
exactly.
Anyway, again, we live in the world where things you trusted you can't trust anymore.
No,
correct.
You got to be smart and you got to vote informed. what people are telling you may or may not be what the actual truth is.
Correct. We will be knocking doors. We will be making phone calls. We will be helping the candidates. We will be working this because, number one, we're going to keep Chavez County red, but we want all of our candidates to win this year.
Absolutely. Again, we got to get back to the middle. Checks and balances.
Exactly.
And New Mexico, as a state, is nowhere near that and never has been.
No.
We need to get there.
No.
You want to stop being 50th in all these bad categories? You got to bring balance back.
Or how
That's
about
the only way.
number one in crime?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The number one's for one, and it's for those things.
Yeah.
I'm talking, we're either 50th in education and places to live, nice things, all that. We're 50th, 49th. And then crime, anything negative, ability to get a job. We're in one worst and one or that.
Quality of life.
Quality of life, absolutely.
Yeah.
You want to stop seeing that and just to where they don't even mention us at all? That would be nice. Not to be the extreme one way or the other, just to we're not even in the picture. We're just average.
Yeah.
We're just like everybody else. Yeah, it's just as nice to live here as it is in Texas or Maryland or wherever it is, And we're not there. That's not it anymore.
No.
And the only way we're going to get that is balance.
Correct.
We need checks and balances. We can't have one party controlling your legislature the entire existence that it was around and not expect things to be wrong and screwed up. And then when you've got no one in the governor's side trying to check and balance there, when it's all in concert, this is when, you think, if it's your party, you're thinking, man, so many great things can get done. But unfortunately, and both parties have them, people that aren't for the good of the people and they're for the good of themselves.
Correct.
Power, either it's financially or power or whatever it is. And the only way you weed that out is with checks and balances. Otherwise, those people can run unchecked.
Correct.
I feel if we don't make an impact this year, I'm really concerned for our future.
Yeah, we're kind of like, how many more chances we got before, it's gone? And
yeah.
We need it. We need change.
Yeah. Vote. And again, vote. Educate yourself and then vote. Vote. Educate. Educate, then vote.
Exactly.
Everyone says go vote. I say go vote. Educate first, then go vote. Don't go in there and start checking boxes and names. And I saw many of those signs. They looked pretty. I'm going to vote for that. That's why we're sitting in the situation we're sitting in. Because especially at those lower level races. Your senators, I know it's a little tricky with us, and those are kind of been decided here. But make no mistake, whoever you're voting for in representative here and senator here in the fall are very important decisions. Those people, whoever ends up in the White House, they're either been the people supporting that or fighting against it, depending on what's going on. So it's very important that you pay attention on that. Again, 11:30 next Wednesday. Come on out to the Convention and Civic Center. Come hear Nella Domenici. Come have some delicious pepper spaghetti, and come meet some of our other local candidates. Come to our state legislatures. Let them hear the good and the bad, the ugly of the 5-hour legislative session, and everything else too. So good deal.
And one issue, they got one issue through.
Yeah. Well, in New Mexico, that's a victory.
Well,
we got one thing done.
I would love.
Let's have a party and celebrate it.
I would love to know what the bill was for that.
I think it's to fund that thing.
Come and find out.
That's right. Come out next Wednesday and be a part of it. Thank you, ladies, as always.
Thank you so much.
And we will see you next time. And,
sounds great.
And anything in between these we need, let us know. Like I said, we're going to get really hot and heavy over the next couple months here. And whatever we can do to help get the word out for what you're doing.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Good deal. All right. That's going to do it for this interview. We'll get you into news on the other side. Don't go away.
I got a tickle in my
Hello.
throat, right?
We have learned an Eddy County man is arrested and jailed after being accused of firing gunshots at a local prosecutor's home. Tracy Demery has a long rap sheet dating back to 2002 for things like forgery, car theft, and tampering with evidence. He was out of jail on bond in a 2022 possession case when court documents say back this past February he drove to the prosecutor's home and fired through her fence toward her home. Police said Demery admitted to the shooting because he feels like the prosecutor has a conflict of interest because she's married to his probation officer. The New Mexico Environment Department is withdrawing a $1.2 million fine against El Paso Water as part of a lawsuit settlement, according to a news release from El Paso's water utility. In 2022, the State Environment Department issued the fine and 2 administrative compliance orders claiming that EP Water violated portions of the state's surface and groundwater protection regulations. The utility, it claimed, discharged raw sewage into the Rio Grande. The company contends that it did so due to a catastrophic failure of its pipeline system to prevent wastewater from inundating homes, businesses, streets, and in an effort to protect the public health. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
If someone collected all of this about you, would you be creeped out? Your late night searches, every place you visited, all the weird videos you watched on YouTube. I'm Kim Commando for Incogni. Stop robocalls, spam texts, and remove yourself from the internet. Get 60% off today at privacykim.com. Of course you would. So why are you okay with Google doing it? Google collects loads of your information. They use it to give you better AI and search results, along with personalized ads. Unsettling. But there is a way to see everything that they've gathered and remove it. Head to myactivity.google.com. There, you'll find all the locations you've visited with Google Maps, your search history, your YouTube watch history, and more. Want to wipe it clean? Just hit delete and it's gone. But don't stop there. Make sure that Google does not start tracking you again. Head into your activity settings and just turn off the tracking. And like that, you've taken control of your privacy. But you start at myactivity.google.com. Join 500,000 folks and get my free newsletter at getkim.com. I'll never forget when my son asked me where in Los Angeles I lived so many years ago. I couldn't remember the house number on the street, but a couple of minutes later, Ian read me the exact address. He found it on a People Search website for free, along with my personal cell phone number. Yikes. It's not just me. I hear from folks all the time, shocked at what they can find out about themselves online. That's where Incogni comes in. Instead of navigating these tricky sites, Incogni does the work for you. So far, they've removed me from over 150 websites. Plus, my personal data is on 24 data suppression lists, meaning it's illegal for these companies to get my name ever again. Even better, they check on a regular basis that data brokers didn't sneak me back in. Try it for yourself and see how easy it is. Get 60% off with Incogni at privacykim.com. That's privacykim.com. 60% off now. privacykim.com.
Running a business is tough. Operational demands change fast, and keeping up can feel impossible. That's where DSI comes in. We've been helping local businesses thrive for over 25 years. You might know us for printer products, but we're your one-stop shop for cutting-edge office technology. From managed IT to video security, audio-visual technology, and more, DSI has everything you need. We're flexible, local, and have the resources of a national corporation. Be more productive. Make more money. DSI, the heartbeat of business. Visit DSINM.com.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. We're still keeping an eye on all state baseball selections. Hopefully we'll get them all in before football starts. But this is still a big deal if you're selected all state. Remember that this is open to all classifications, not just the seniors. And we want to wish congratulations to a couple of guys from Gateway Christian in Class 1A. Remember the Warriors were 13-6 overall, qualified for the state playoffs, but fell in the first round. But Nathaniel Wigley was selected first team from the Warriors as an infielder for Class 1A. He hit .443 on the season. And Rayford Fulkerson was picked as a second team pitcher. He was 3-1 with a 3.42 ERA. He could also hit. Rayford had 530 batting average. He had 10 triples. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. U.S. indexes closed up on Tuesday and hit a near two-week high after softer producer prices data reinforced bets of an interest rate cut by the Federal Reserve in September. The United Auto Workers Union has filed charges with the National Labor Relations Board against Donald Trump and Tesla over attempts to threaten and intimidate workers. The action came after Elon Musk and Trump held a 2-hour conversation on social media platform X on Monday night, during which Trump complimented Musk's ability to cut costs by saying he would not tolerate workers going on strike. General Motors has been sued by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who accused the automaker of selling drivers' private data to several companies without their consent. A federal judge has dismissed a lawsuit that sought to block Alaska Airlines' plan to buy Hawaiian Airlines for nearly $1.9 billion, a deal the consumer plaintiff said would cut routes and raise prices. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Artesia General Hospital has welcomed cardiologist Luther Weathers to the team. Dr. Weathers is board certified with a subspecialty in cardiovascular diseases. He treats patients with genetic heart defects, heart rhythm disorders, heart failure, coronary artery disease, chronic high blood pressure, and other cardiovascular diseases. Call 575-736-8270 to schedule your visit with Dr. Weathers in Artesia or visit artesiageneral.com/cardio appointment. Se habla español.
Are you ready to succeed? Earn your FFA certification through ENMU Roswell's Aviation Maintenance Technology Program. ENMU Roswell has the only FFA Part 147 airframe and power plant school in Southeast New Mexico. Receive commercial and general aviation training, hands-on training with operation aircraft, Boeing commercial experience, advanced composite repair training, and more. And ENMU Roswell offers in-state tuition for veterans too. Registration is now open through August 16th. Learn more about this exciting program on campus or online at roswell.enmu.edu. Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Success starts here.
Who doesn't think the dentist is a big deal? I know what you're thinking. What will they find? How much will it hurt? What are my options? Hi, this is Dr. Sarah Usher, and I am here to tell you that here at Carabelli Dental, it is our job to put you at ease. With options like sedation dentistry, you can rest assured that regardless of what dental work you might need, you can get it done while resting comfortably. Call our office now and speak to our knowledgeable staff about setting up your new patient appointment.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental or call 575-622-4455.
Bob Reed Pest Control protects you and your home by controlling pests that invade. Bob Reed Pest Control understands the importance of safety in and around your home from unwanted pests. Protect your family's most important investment, your home, and protect your children and pets from the dangers of poisonous bugs and insects. Call Bob Reed Pest Control today and let our fully licensed pest control professionals start working for you and your family. Find us fast in names and numbers. Call 623-5344, serving all of Southeast New Mexico.
Being called a fox in your marriage might not always be a good thing. Hi, this is Pastor Troy and my wife, Miss Julie, for the Joy of Marriage.
In Song of Solomon, it says, "Catch all the foxes, those little foxes, before they ruin the vineyard of love." I looked up the word fox, and it means cunning, achieving one's goal by deceit or evasion. A female fox is a vixen, which is spiteful or a combative woman.
Those little things we do to try to get our way can ruin our marriages. Try just being honest and talking through the situation. Do what's best for your marriage, not just for yourself. When Julie and I learned to choose to do what's right instead of trying to be right, our marriage turned around. You will find marriage is so much better when we work together.
If you have any questions or would like further information about the Joy of Marriage Ministry, please go to jomconference.com.
Hey CVE members, have you scheduled your no-cost home energy audit? If not, it's time to sign up. Call 575-746-3571 to get your name on the list for a free home energy audit. Weather stripping, new door sweeps, minor repairs, and much more. Start saving money and keep that purchased air in your home. Central Valley Electric Cooperative is happy to partner with Green Metal Energy for this valuable audit. Again, 575-746-3571.
This is Dallas Cowboys football 2024.
Prescott in the gun, runs it up the middle.
Only heard here.
Skinny post, walk in, CeeDee Lamb.
All season.
Pressure up the middle. He's hit. He's sacked by Parsons.
Saturday night, it's your Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders. Live from Allegiant Stadium on this Dallas Cowboys radio network station.
Pre-game at 7, kickoff at 8 on your official Dallas Cowboys station, 92.9 The Brand.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. U-Haul is the world's largest advertiser in the Yellow Pages. Too bad millennials don't know what the Yellow Pages are. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:59, closing in on 8 o'clock. Top of the hour news coming up in just a few seconds. Stay tuned next hour. Around 8:15 or so, we'll have Brian Luck, superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District, join us. Give us the update, rundown of last school board meeting, and then other things happening in and around the district this morning. So that will be next hour. So we'll have that for you. Also, there's something else I was going to mention. It just shot right out of my head. Oh, well. Perhaps next hour.
Maybe next hour.
Yeah, I do. I'll talk more about that. If you need clothing or anything, today is the last day. The Gonzales Hope Center, they're going to be open this morning. You can come by and get stuff. We'll get Jocelyn next hour. I don't remember what times. What's the times you're going to be out there?
The Mornings with Mike Winters.
Nothing.
What time are you going to be out there today?
2 to 4 today.
2 to 4 at the Gonzales Hope Center. We'll talk more about it on the other side of news. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, or Roswell, New Mexico.
A year ago has fallen to its lowest level in more than 3 years.
The Labor Department says prices rose 2.9%, down from 3% in June of last year. It also says prices rose 0.2% from June to July after dropping slightly the previous month for the first time in 4 years. The government said nearly all of last month's increase reflected higher rental prices and housing costs, a trend that, according to real-time data, is easing.
Correspondent Jeremy House. As additional U.S. military gear and personnel arrive in the Mideast, Iran not backing away from its threat to attack Israel, according to the BBC's Tom Bateman.
It's really hard to try and predict what the Iranians will do in any situation. They have had a tendency in the past to act in what is sometimes called an asymmetric way, so not a direct attack into Israel, but perhaps attacking some of its interests overseas, or, for example, U.S. assets or U.S. personnel in the Middle East, something that the U.S. also desperately wants to try to avoid.
Unlike a couple of her fellow members of the congressional squad, Minnesota Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has won her primary race. Also in Minnesota, Republican Royce White will face Democratic incumbent U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar in November. Former President Trump will hold a rally today in Asheville, North Carolina. He's expected to talk economics and what his campaign bills as a major policy address. Vice President Kamala Harris due to visit North Carolina on Friday. Watching Wall Street this morning, stocks have been modestly higher. Right now, the Dow is up 34 points, while the Nasdaq has turned 59 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Our government has engorged itself on borrowed money. Now we are over $30 trillion in debt. If this bubble finally implodes, many Americans would be left penniless and heartbroken. For example, what happens if state and federal pension funds go broke? Or if 401ks and IRAs get cut in half due to hyperinflation? Hi, I'm Lance Wallnow, news analyst, best-selling author, and evangelical leader to millions of people just like you. People who understand something big is coming. Now's the time to prepare with a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. Precious metals are among the most proven hedges you can make. And they're even better inside a tax advantage account. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word FAITH, F-A-I-T-H, to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached, so just text FAITH to the number 989898 right now, and I pray you are blessed with continued prosperity.
Israel's government says it's working on a strategy aimed at preventing terror attacks like the one on October 7th. We get the latest on the Media Line's Felice Friedson.
10 months after Hamas terrorists swarmed across the Israel-Gaza border, Israelis remain angry and fearful at the terrorists' vows to do it again and again. The Netanyahu government has now taken a first step towards allaying concerns, albeit with no admissions or accountability. A $190 million pilot program in 5 frontline communities will focus on physical defenses, human rapid response, advanced communication, and technologies. The plan apparently aims to begin refortifying physical defenses without answering the questions Israelis have been wrestling with. Who turned off the area's electronic defenses and who left the gates open? I'm Felice Friedson, Town Hall News, Jerusalem.
News and analysis at themedialine.org and townhall.com. A former Kansas lawman, he had directed a raid on a newspaper, has been charged.
Former Marion Police Chief Gideon Cody is accused of knowingly or intentionally influencing a potential witness for an investigation to withhold information from authorities. Cody led a raid last year of the Marion County Record and the home of its publisher. He justified the raid by saying he had evidence the newspaper had committed identity theft or other computer crimes. In verifying the authenticity of a copy
copy of a business owner's state driving record provided to the newspaper by an acquaintance. The record showed that she had potentially driven without a valid license for years. The prosecutor's report concluded no crime was committed. I'm Mike Hempen.
Maine utility regulators rejecting a utility's proposal to report unusually high electricity consumption to law enforcement. Such heavy use of electricity can signal an illicit marijuana growing operation. Townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The deuce
of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Yes, sir.
It's not Monday.
Tis not. Tis not.
Part.
It feels like the drop-off system is officially like gotten into that settling place where things are like the system.
You got a groove now.
Yeah, everybody's kind of knows their place.
Yeah, it takes a week or two.
Nobody's getting pushy. Nobody's trying to park in the handicap spot.
Like the new people that didn't know the flow now know the flow, so everyone's flowing.
Yeah. The lanes are moving as they should. Although this is my complaint about some of the school lanes. And some of them are open, and that's great. Those are fine. Because once your kid gets dropped off, you can pull off and go do your thing.
Get out of that.
They are at the school that my son goes to. It's like there's like these bars all along the drop-off lane, so you can't pull out. Once you're in, you're in.
Good.
And you get locked in from the car behind you too. So you're like, but
that's how you deal with the riffraff. Yeah, we
and
deal
yes,
with the riffraff.
It does simplify the system. It makes it work better.
Right.
I still don't have to like it though.
This is something we have to remember. And the older I get, the more I have to remind myself. Society is set up for the lowest common denominator. And we need to remember that. And so the rest of us that don't think like those in the lowest common denominator get annoyed by these things that hamper us. But we need them for the people.
In fairness,
with the lowest common denominator.
They and as I complain, they tamp down the madness. So
I get it. You're like, man, I wish I could do, but those bars, they save us from so much.
They really do. Pure chaos, actually. It's pure chaos out there.
They're not the bars you want. They're the bars you need.
Yeah. It's not the hero that you need. It's the hero you deserve.
Speaking of stupid people.
I
watch pretty much on the regular now since it's been out for a year when it comes out. A television show called Judge Steve Harvey. We all know Steve Harvey. Family Feud, Steve Harvey Show, Hang on Mr. Cooper.
One of the original kings of comedy.
Exactly. You want to go a little old school. But he has a judge show. A la People's Court, Judge Judy.
Judge Joe Brown.
Difference between his show and theirs is his is on primetime evening TV as opposed to Judge Judy's daytime thing.
Wow.
And it's not and there's not 500 episodes like Judge Judy. It's once a week. It's filmed like a drama or something. I mean, the show's not, but it's got a schedule like a CBS evening drama. It comes on once a week, and usually during the summer, and then you don't see it for the rest of the year. However, we are in the season of Steve Harvey, and it was on
the season of Steve.
Well, like Like if you tune in to ABC on Tuesday nights, it's Steve Harvey.
Oh, I know. It's Family Feud, Steve Harvey Show, and Judge Steve Harvey. I mean, whoever his agent is, I mean, you're one of the hardest working men in show business.
Between him and Snoop Dogg, you can't not find them everywhere. They're just everywhere. You just turn around and there they are. But I like the show because Steve Harvey's witty. He's and it's not legally. It's not all legally like a Judge Judy or People's Court would be because it's Steve Harvey. He has no legal expertise in anything.
So it's basically everything. It's Steve Harvey's one note, which is somebody says something outrageous. He goes for a long time while people laugh, and he looks at the camera.
But he puts his Steve Harvey life experience is his court. And so what really happens is if you got a good case, he'll end up paying for your stuff. Like, I don't know how many times there's like a case and a sob story, and a lot of the times it's usually two old friends that are squabbling over something completely stupid, but they've been friends for like 50 years, and they're squabbling over $400. And at the point, Steve's just like, dude, you owe him $400. I'm going to pay it. Y'all be friends and shut up.
Well, here's
that's
the
usually
thing.
What he does.
Here's the thing. If you ever watch a Judge Judy or whatever, in the fine print in the credits, it always says that in agreeing to come have their case seen in front of Judge Judy,
they got to abide by whatever Judge Judy says.
No, that. But also, all fees will be paid for by the show.
So you're saying even the thousands, whatever?
It's been
I didn't know
tale as old as time. They've been doing that. If you're agreeing to put your case out on public public
well, no
display,
wonder all these derelicts get on that show.
That's basically what it is. It's it's how to get out of small claims court without paying a dime.
Oh, that's a bummer. Well, Steve Harvey peeled that curtain back and just says, "I'm paying it," and here you go.
That was already a thing. But here's the thing about Steve Harvey.
But it does make Steve look like a philanthropist. Literally, by the end of an episode, he's throwing out thousands of dollars to people. He's like, wow, I know your money's good, but dang.
Full-on philanthropist. But here's the thing about Steve Harvey, and I've heard this from a couple of different places. He's sort of an Ellen.
Is he?
In that he has, behind the scenes,
he's kind of hard to work for?
Talks down to people.
Okay.
He has, and this is something that I've seen a lot in Hollywood, and I'm not sure why this is a thing. No eye contact. He has a no eye contact rule.
Really?
Yeah. From what I've heard, I don't know if this is true, but from what I've heard from people who have worked with him, you're not allowed to make eye contact when you pass him in the hallway.
I hear those things, and I think, sure, some of them might be true, but I think a lot of times this guy did something to tick somebody off, and that really wasn't that big a deal. But because he is who he is, they felt slighted, and then they start these things. If one person's saying it, I'm kind of like,
well, no, it's sort of it's a talked about thing.
Story after story, and they're legit ones,
right?
Like when like the Ellen thing snowballed. Like it was first as one or two, and everyone's like, nah, and then more people were like, no, this woman's kind of a tyrant back there, and then the rest blew up. I'm not denying that he is, because I could see that, because just he kind of the way he matter of factly does things, and it's funny and witty, but in real life, I imagine that does get grating, you know what I mean? So I could see it. But I don't. I take those with a grain of salt till it's pretty mainstream universal, because at that point I just look at it as someone with an axe to grind.
This says Steve Harvey said he doesn't apologize for his brutal staff rules, which include do not attempt to walk with me and do not wait in any hallway to speak with me.
That is a bit.
That's pretty rough there, dude.
Love you some love, a bit narcissistic.
He says, I, Steve Harvey, do not wish to speak to you. I mean. Fair enough. In fairness, he does deal with a whole lot of everybody else's problems all day, every day.
Now, I don't condone it, but I understand.
Yeah, I mean, if you get to a certain point, I've heard the same thing about Stern. People say you're not allowed to go to his part of the building. You're not allowed to make eye contact with Howard.
He's a nut bar. He's a complete nut bar.
It's like, why is eye contact the thing where celebrities draw the line?
Well, and I know with his thing, I don't even think with him it's the prima donna thing. I just think he's crazy.
Right.
He's that guy that literally holds himself up because he doesn't want germs. I mean, he's a nut bar.
Here's the thing. When you've spent your entire existence inside of a box, and I mean even out when he's out off the radio station, he surrounds himself with people that cater to him, that placate to him. You lose touch.
He's created a very sheltered universe for himself, and it's been like that his whole life.
Right.
Even when he was wheeling, dealing crazy Stern and, shock jock Stern.
Right.
Now that he just interviews celebrity people and talk about the Bachelorette all day and bashes Trump, that's kind of his show now. But that whole time he's just gone neurosis. And he's the ultimate
neurosis, not necrosis. Like, oh God,
yeah, he's got some kind of neurosis
check on him.
going on. But he is the ultimate hypocrite. And this is a guy that grew up, and I love Stern. When I grew up, I'm probably in radio because of Stern. I'm telling you right now, listening to him as a kid, is why
a whole subset of the talk community is in radio because of Stern.
But that man is a nut bar. That man has completely gone crazy. He was always a little weird, and that made him funny. And now, as the older he gets, the more it turns into old man screaming at cloud. And it just doesn't come off good. But he's screaming at things that are popular, so now he gets a run. But to be honest, Howard Stern has turned into Don Imus. He should have left radio years ago. That's what happened.
Don Imus.
And it's sad because as a man that I truly loved as a kid and loved his show and loved everything about it, turned to what he is today, it's one of those things that's like,
you have to know when to let go.
Yeah, and he should have let go. He should have rode off in the sunset.
You have more money than Jesus.
Yeah. To be honest, I think he should have
stayed. I'm talking about Kanye West.
I don't think he should have ever gone to satellite.
Jesus,
I think he should have rode out terrestrial radio and then just left. When he got fined up so much that they didn't want to put him on anymore, he should have rode off into the sun.
And that's the other thing. When you take away the rules, when you take the rule book completely away from him, you turn into this thing that's
the show turned worse, in my
It's
opinion.
not connect. I've always argued that having the bounds of the FCC and having to be creative and work around things makes for more fun, other than just saying the thing.
Yeah.
Now that he can just say the thing, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of that did happen. And then he went, believe it or not, he went extreme. That first couple months there on Sirius, he was doing over the top stuff that you could never ever do on terrestrial.
Right.
It was so over the top that you're like, this went from funny to oogie.
I felt the same way about Opie and Anthony.
Yeah.
They were literally like playing completely just not necessary.
Yeah.
Don't do that on radio. I don't want to hear these things.
And now they got it out of their system and they settled down after a couple of years. But for the first year or two, anytime these, and you like you said, it's not just Stern. It was all these guys that, Bubba the Love Sponge, everyone that kind of made that leap. They had to go and just do extreme because they could now.
Morning Zoo was dying and shock jockery was
to be honest, it's
at hand.
The innuendo makes it funny.
Yeah.
Sometimes the theater of the mind, the whole thing, and then when you just put it out there, it's not as funny. And I think they had to learn that lesson on satellite.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I didn't want to go into a diatribe on radio.
Let's just talk about us for 20 minutes.
Brian Luck is patiently waiting in the other room, and I'm sure he doesn't want to hear about this either. So let's get the hour going. Like I said, Superintendent will join us in just a few. We'll talk about the school board meeting and everything else happening around the district. But first, the weather. Now, here's the thing with the weather. I feel like we got a procrastinator running the weather today.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is all week they've been saying tomorrow's going to be 104, tomorrow's going to be, and then every day I come in the morning, it's like, well, we're going to be 100. Tomorrow's going to be 104, though. And it's been doing that all week. And I'm kind of like, and it did it again today. We got a 20% chance of rain, high of 100. Yesterday was going to be hot 104, and that was it.
When those clouds rolled in, it was 103.
It was nice.
It was 103 by the time the clouds rolled in, but once they rolled in, it was nice.
Now, I'm not complaining because I don't want 104, but I feel like we got a procrastinating teenager running the weather right now, and it's like, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow.
Mr. Richardson, it's happening again. Just the computer's on repeat.
We'll go 104 tomorrow. We'll just stay 99 at rate chance today. So here's your weather, a la teenage spoiled kid.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We do have a little bit of tropical air moving in from the south and west, so we could see a few afternoon showers or thunderstorms today. Plenty of sunshine, though, and staying pretty hot. Afternoon highs at about 100. Overnight, some clouds and down to 70, and then dry air is back in place on Thursday. We'll be in the low 100s again and sunny, as high as 105 and sunny on Friday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 81 here in Roswell. Humidity's at 49%. Winds are calm at the moment. Like I said, the 104s, they pushed it back another day. There is a 20% chance of rain after 3 this afternoon, otherwise sunny and 100 for a high. Don't get me wrong, it's still hot, but it's not 104 hot. Winds will be out of the east 5 to 10. Clear tonight, overnight low of 71 degrees, south winds 5 to 10, 103 and sunny for you Thursday, allegedly. Winds out of the southwest at 5 miles per hour. Friday, sunny and 105, southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, sunny and 105, and then Sunday, sunny and 103, and next week, more of the same, 105 Monday, 105 Tuesday. So one more day of this, unless they decide to sleep in again tomorrow, too. All right, it is 8:19. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and then Brian Luck will join us on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
When others say no, Roswell Hyundai says yes. The bank manager is at Roswell Hyundai for a short time to say yes. No social security number or ITIN number? Yes. No driver's license? Yes. It doesn't matter. Roswell Hyundai says yes. If you have a job that earns at least $12 an hour, Roswell Hyundai wants to say yes. Roswell Hyundai wants 100% approval, which means they want to say yes to you. Yes. Get zero down, zero payments till fall, plus up to $4,000 more for your trade. Yes. On now at the home of Roswell Hyundai, 1909 West 2nd.
Yes! The ultimate Wi-Fi experience is now available to you thanks to Smart Home Wi-Fi with Plateau. Get fiber-to-home technology 100 times faster than average household internet speed. Plateau has multiple plans and options to fit your family. With Fast, get true 100 megs per second download and upload speed. With Faster, get true 500 megs of download and upload speeds. And with Fastest, you get 1 gig. Learn more at plateautel.com. Get the speed you need with Plateau. Tried, true. Trusted.
Whether you're a homeowner, a landscaper, or a contractor, we all have reasons to dig. If you're planning to dig, this is just a friendly reminder that locating underground utilities is important. It's actually the law. Call 811 3 days before you dig. New Mexico Gas Company is one of the utilities that will come out free of charge to mark our underground lines up to the meter, so you'll know what's below. We're New Mexico Gas Company, and our priority is keeping you safe. That's why we're here. Learn more at nmgco.com.
Pressure Services, LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has immediate openings for experienced vacuum truck, kill truck, and hydrovac operators. Operators must hold a Class A CDL, at least 2 years of experience, and all positions require a clean driving record and must be able to pass a DOT drug and alcohol screening. Pressure Services offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please apply in person at 2702 North Freeman in Artesia, New Mexico. Equal opportunity employer.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Turtles can breathe through their butts. We imagine you know some people who do that too, because that's where their heads reside. Here's Mike Winters.
Yeah, some days I'm a little snarky. Good morning. It is 22 minutes after 8 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning, Superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District, Brian Luck, back with us. Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
How you doing today?
We're doing good for a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's kind of like Sean was saying at the beginning, we're kind of now a couple weeks into the school year. Everyone's kind of finding their grooves now. Everyone's kind of getting into the routine, so to speak, you know.
Feels like it.
Yeah.
Feels like it.
And that's a good thing.
Yes, sir.
You know, I get it. It gets chaotic the first week, and you're just like, man, but now everyone's kind of set their lane and gotten, you know, the routine down, and the kids, because that's the big thing is getting the kids, especially if you're dealing with younger kids, getting them on board to the schedule again. So now everyone's kind of pretty transitioned to that, I think.
Well, it's interesting, the philosophy of like, well, do we start on a Thursday, Friday like we did this year and kind of let everybody rip the Band-Aid off and then have the 2 days over the weekend, or do you just you jump right in on a Monday and just go full circle with that?
Yeah. And I don't know how parents per se feel at large by that, but I can attest from my wife and almost most teachers and staff, they like it this way. They like that breakup, so it kind of lets them kind of reset the lesson plans and kind of do it, and so they can get there. All right, a couple days of get used to back in school again. You got to act like you're in school again, and then next week they can say, all right, now it's time to do school stuff.
Yes. Well, and it gives you a chance to kind of, because everybody has a preconceived notion of what it's fixing to be.
Sure.
And then you get there for a couple of days, and then you adjust and you reset, and two, it gets the parents a chance that you don't necessarily have to have some things, and you get to school and you get that final list of school supplies, and you run out over the weekend and pick them up, and you're ready to go.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's kind of that thing, and obviously I think that because the school year started a little bit, I think that kind of threw everyone's schedule off a little bit, and kind of just different than it usually is. That always has a wrinkle in that.
And we talked about that a little bit at the opening ceremonies with our teachers, and I reminded them. I said the one from the calendar committee was the consensus is we really like that full week at Thanksgiving, and you take those 2 days out of the mix, and then you take an election holiday, so that's 3 days.
Yeah.
We start the almost a full week later if we do that, but. It was different. I won't lie. I mean, I've been in this my whole life.
Human beeks. Anytime there's change a little bit, and at the time the change is happening, you're like, grumble. I guarantee Thanksgiving, you're like, man, what a good idea for this whole weekend.
It's interesting you say that. I'm sending out a survey here pretty quick that said, your thoughts on that, and then I'm going to do another one at Thanksgiving and kind of
I bet the answer will be
have
different.
a comparison, and that's pretty much my thought right there. And I've just kind of come to consensus that I'm never making everyone happy. And
that once you learn that, life starts getting easier for you. Once you realize I'm not going to make everybody happy, because you do, and that's just human nature. You don't want to be people mad at you, but yeah. That's life. That really is life, and that's a life lesson.
You want a good start. Yeah. I mean, that's so important. I mean, we've had a few years, and just over the course of 20 plus years, you can recall your bad ones, and you can recall the really good ones. And right now, like we were talking off mic, I mean, this one looks like a pretty good start. We've had great response from our teachers. It's been hot, and
and to be honest, I know we're a few years out the window of this now, but. We still have the old COVID punch drunkenness going on a little bit here.
To a point.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's in our rearview mirror, but we're still living in the world post-COVID, right. And there are still policies and practices in place that, for a good reason, are still in place solely because of what we went through during COVID. And so there's still an adjustment there. And like you said, life's different now. Things like snow days, that was just part of the lexicon. That's not that way anymore. And so school's different because of technology, because of life.
Right.
And how you went to school is not the same as how your kids are going to school.
Well, it redefined most things.
Yeah.
And so you can't not refer to it because it did put it had a pretty good mark on society in general. But as far as, redefining what we do and how we do it, it did. It reset some parameters, and that's why they're there. So,
And to be honest, most of it will be for the good. And there'll be a few things that come out of this and that's not a good idea. Maybe we ought to back off on that. But that's how these things happen. You put policies in place and I don't care how polished and everything is, you got to run a test balloon on it a little bit and see how it's going to register. And sometimes they register well, sometimes not so much.
Well, then the things that worked, we kept. I mean, you'd be silly not to keep them if they were working.
If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
And the ones that we weren't really in favor of, we've done our best to either massage it to where it works the best for us, or just totally get rid of it,
mitigate it in a way that works better. But that's life. And the school district's doing it just like your business that you're doing is doing it, and your home.
Sure,
your home's the same way. And once people understand that, instead of coming in with guns blazing on everything, maybe we can
be nice.
It's the world we live in. But and that's something I always like to remind people, because at the end of this day here, and I know I say at the end of the day a lot, we are all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to provide the best opportunities for our children to receive the best education possible, so when they are old enough and mature enough to make their own decisions, they make the correct ones.
That's right. How simple can it be?
That's all we're trying to do here.
That's it. That's just that. It's not really a big,
right?
Just that.
But if we got to remember that. Like, what's the end game here? What's our end game? And I think we tend to, lose the, can't see the forest from the trees type situation. We tend to forget that. We get so wrapped up on the hill we want to die on because the one thing we think is so wrong or whatever. And it's like, you forget what we're trying to, you're going to destroy everything and mess up the real reason why we're here to begin with. And that's every time. And I get it. You defend your kids. You do your thing. You always want what's best. But at the same time, you got to remember sometimes, what are we doing here, Harry? What's the whole point of this? And don't forget that.
There you go.
Yep. So anyway, soapbox done.
Okay, let me make a check mark. There's one. So.
That's right. Oh, I lie. I can't stop myself. But we did have a school board meeting yesterday or Monday.
We did. We had one last night. Remember,
that's right.
We are now back to the second Tuesday of the month. So had a good meeting last night. It was, I don't want to say long, but about 2.5 hours, give or take. Covered a lot of business.
And that's probably a good average length for a school board meeting.
Not bad right there. And lots of topics, so we didn't really get bogged down in one or two things.
Well, and I imagine, too, to some extent, this is kind of a slow time of year for the board. Because it's before budget talks and all that. The school year's already been locked and loaded. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're kind of in I'm not saying lull because there's always things to do, but as far as big deadlines coming up and things, it's kind of in a bit of a lull period for the board there. Things are kind of done for this year. They'll start planning for some things. They've already started planning for next year, but there'll be those things in place.
They were talking last night about a board retreat, looking at some goals, so that's on the horizon coming up. So that'll be like a late August, early September kind of a deal. Yeah. And then you make the shift into implementing all of those things, and I think you're right for the most part. I mean, God bless them. I mean, they're always inundated with phone calls and people stopping them in the grocery stores, and first to school.
The life of an elected official.
The life, yes. Reminded them last night that school this is normal for this time of year, and that they should see a little bit of an uptake in communications and they have, and they're always easy to work with.
Yeah. And that's by design. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. This is why you elect people for these positions. When you have questions, concerns,
yes,
you through proper channels,
Absolutely.
obviously, address those to them. That's what they're there for.
Right. Yes, sir.
With that being said, so I'm glad, like you said, they're talking retreat. So this is kind of, and what I mean, when I was talking earlier about this, whereas they hit certain times here, it's like, we got to get the budget ready. Right. We have to have deadlines on this, this, and this. We're kind of in a deadline lull here a little bit. So you can probably work on things. All right, well, what's our big picture for the future? We can focus on these things right now because we don't have a budget deadline or whatever. So I think this time of year, you start to see those kinds of
we get to catch
things
your breath.
Implemented.
Yeah. You have an opportunity to not feel like you're being drugged, and you can, the things that you'd like to implement, the projects and the different things that you want to see happen here in the district. And we meet quarterly. I get an opportunity to meet one-on-one with each board member quarterly to kind of go over,
just touch base,
and kind of get a temperature check for what they're seeing, what they're hearing. And, yes, it's that time's coming up with
and let's face it, a superintendent and the school board's relationship is a very unique one, because at the end of the day, they're your boss, but you kind of tell them what to do on a daily basis in a weird sort of way as far as how the day-to-day philosophy,
I will tell them what we do.
Right, but your decisions carry more weight in that room just because you're the superintendent. And the board is kind of like, their job as a board is kind of say, let me give you the tools to do your job and then go let you do your job. They're not there to micromanage, but at the same time, you're kind of the one that says, look, we have to do it this way because.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're the one that's been in the classroom and stuff. And school board, sure, some of them may be retired teachers and stuff, but for the most part, their job is to be in that role, not in the classroom.
Well, I will say this. I have been very blessed with the boards that I've worked with as far as just what you said, giving me the tools to do my job, and directions, like not so much like we're going to give you the directions of how to do things, but it's more of a directional approach, like, hey, be looking at things like this and be on the lookout for that.
Sure.
And they let me do my job.
Sure.
So I'm very blessed. A lot of superintendents aren't as fortunate as I am.
Some are much more micromanaged.
And I like it. I know it makes it easy to do.
But I would also argue this is the reason why, if you look at the history of the RASD, we have a pretty good. I mean, sure, there's always been a couple years where somebody did something, and they made somebody mad about something or another. But if you look at the history, you look at we're never in trouble financially. We're always within our. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, attribute to that mindset you're talking about. A school board gets elected, they do their job, and then they hire a person to be the superintendent and let them do their job.
And we've spoken about this multiple times. I mean, that goes back to community expectations. And so that's one of the things that I really, we're very fortunate here in Roswell that smaller town kind of kicks in a little bit when it comes to that there is still accountability for the local boards and local offices.
Absolutely.
And it like I said, it's a nice fit.
Sure.
And for me especially, it's a nice fit.
But that's the relationship that has to kind of happen that way, really, for a school district to succeed. If you've got some of that. And I think our board gets that, and our elected officials get that. You certainly get it, and I think many of our other staff and everything also get that. It's everyone has their part, and everyone does their little part, and it makes the big picture that much. You're all a cog in the big machine.
That's right.
As your cog spinning, it makes the machine go that much better. And I know it seems weird to talk about that with people, but you kind of have to juggle that a little bit. When you're talking about something that involves thousands of people, you got to think in those terms. But at the meeting, you also have to think into the one individual.
Right.
And that's the uniqueness of what a school board meeting is. You got to think for the best of thousands, but at the same time, you got to have the compassion to deal with the one. And that's the juggling act that school boards and school districts deal with, you know.
Interesting segue right there. We had our back to school meetings a couple weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago now. And this is the first time since I've taken over that we actually tried some larger group events. So we did the elementary teachers and the secondary teachers separately, but we had, so in the AM, we had all of the high school and mid school teachers come into the Civic Center. And, you know, I get up on the stage there and I look out and I'm like, well, this is pretty full crowd right here. And spoke to them and then we did our training and broke for lunch. And then we brought in the elementary teachers, and I don't know where they all came from, but they just kept coming.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, and I'm sitting up there and I was just like, all of these people work in our district.
Yeah.
And we didn't even have our maintenance and our custodial staff and our kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm doing the math in my head and I was just like, oh my gosh.
You get that moment of realization.
There's a lot of people that make this happen.
Yeah.
And
so many moving parts. People don't realize.
It is. And then like you said, it's tough to try to make sure that you don't miss that one opportunity to recognize someone in a good moment or a bad moment.
What's best for everyone, but at the same time, not losing the compassion for the one. That's the game at the, you know, we're trying to do that while at the same time preparing these kids for the future and all that.
Absolutely.
Know? And so that's the juggle. And let's face it, it's really hard to do all that, and that's why sometimes we get people that are upset this way or that, and that's why we live life and deal with it that way. But
we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to make people mad,
sure.
and that's just part of that business. But you know, it's at the end of the day, like you said, it's you just continue to try to move forward, and you've got a good vision, you've got a good plan in place, and you just need to try to follow it.
And parents and staff and everyone also needs to realize too that when you do, you know, procedures and things, if you have issues with these things, please remember they're not for the convenience of you. The priority one is not those reasons they're there. Priority one is to protect your family, your kids, and make sure they have a clean, healthy, safe environment to be educated. And anything that cuts away from that or potentially dangers that, the school will always err on that side instead of you. That will happen every time. So when a teacher tells you, you will not go into that room right now because we will jack you up because you're not allowed to be in there, you got to listen because they're being bulldogs for your kids.
Right.
They are the ones protecting your kids, and they love your kids just as much. Well, okay, maybe not just much, but equally. They love your kids. And I know my wife speaks this way, and I know a bunch of teachers.
Right.
They will be pit bulls to protect those kids in their classrooms. And so please understand that it's a good thing. So when you do get a moment where the teacher's being a little authoritative on there, it's because of the love of your kids.
Right.
So please understand that.
Well, I brought up there towards the end of the meeting, and I reminded the board and you know the community in general, if you run into something at a school where the school says no to something, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, we're not going to wear this, we're not going to wear that, we're advising against this, you know, that there's probably a pretty good reason, and that it's not just a flippant decision, that there was something has happened in the past.
Yeah, generally when you see a decision made, there's a ton of things that never made the public, and for good reason, because let's face it, people say and do dumb things sometimes, and if you let that go out unchecked, it creates more panic and confusion than necessary. I mean, think about it, folks. You get on your Facebook, and every time there's a lockdown at one of these schools, the entire town goes, understandably, you know, concerned and crazy. If we put every one of those, that slight thing, we couldn't get anything done because there's so many people be panicking unnecessarily when law enforcement or whoever needs to be in the know on this can quietly do what they got to do.
Well, and it back to the sense of community type of a deal. It is the first month of school, and we're having fire drills left and right. I'm sitting out in the lobby. I've had 5 notices on my phone that we've had. I think we had a lockdown drill. We've had 3 fire drills. We're doing that just as quickly as we can. And
again, it's a new year.
That's what you do. And then the nice thing of my security liaison, Mr. Larry Joe Harrell, he had made the comment, he says, after we're done with our drill session, if your alarm goes off, it's the real thing. And so that the shift of, from 20 years ago, you would have random drills at different times, and you just never
they're almost
really
treated like a procedural joke than taken for what they're supposed to be.
And now, the thought of, gosh, why didn't we do that in the past? Why didn't we all do it and be done with it? And so that way, if it ever, when the fire alarm went off or whenever this happened, that you knew this was
someone
a
didn't
legitimate
another
thing.
drill.
That's exactly right.
This might actually be an emergency situation.
Right.
So yeah.
We have an app on all of our phones, and it tells us everything we ever needed to know about the drills and where it's at and who's involved.
And to be honest, when those types of things occur, the school district does an excellent job of notifying the people that need to know. They put out the robocalls, but they do it to, okay, this is a situation we don't need to tell the entire school district what's going on here, but we need to tell everybody at School X that's involved here, and that's what they do.
And I've given the directive to my principals that we're not going to do an in-the-day robocall unless it's an emergency.
Gotcha.
So we're not going to break into your day. That's right.
That's something serious.
Yes.
Not send it to voicemail.
Answer that one. We're not going to call you at 1:00 to tell you that tomorrow is taquito day or
those usually come in the evenings around dinner time, at around 5, 6 o'clock sometimes when I hear it.
It's interesting because, up until things that happened in the past, you don't really think about that. And then now, you get a robocall and, that's the school. Well, it'll go to voicemail.
Yeah.
But if you get a call from anywhere in the hours of 8 to 3, you need to answer that one.
So if it's during school hours and you get that call,
you need to answer that one.
This ain't come to the fundraiser. This is, we got an issue.
Right.
And you need to address something.
There's some action that's required of you here coming up pretty quick. So please answer the phone.
Yeah.
So.
And that's but to me this is the good thing, because we're getting information to parents is so better than it was when you and I were school age kids. It's just, technology is part of it, but nowadays, we all had to wait for the radio or the TV to learn anything about what's going on. Now you find out the moment things are being decided, and that allows parents to. But please, like we said, don't ignore those.
Right.
But at the same time, this stay in the know, stay up to date. If these things are going down and you start seeing things on social media, if you didn't get a robocall,
that's right,
you're probably not impacted on that.
Well, and the other piece to that is if it truly is an emergency, the school's going to get you. I haven't heard anything. Well, that's because there's nothing out at that point.
And to be honest, you're busy triaging the situation, and you're handling the people that need to be in on it, not the people that do not need to be.
Well, and wow, what a difference 10 years has made with I can't wait, I will not wait, I am not going to wait.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we deal with now with parents, teachers as well. But there's the mindset of, well, when we're ready, we're going to let you know, or when we're ready, we'll do this. That's a hard one for a lot of people to take.
Sure.
Because society doesn't work like that.
We're not patient anymore because we live in a world where everything's handed to you now and things. And back in the day I was growing up, they used to teach things like patience is a virtue and good things come to those who wait and all that. Those have been thrown out the window. However, that doesn't mean they're not true. So you live in this world, remember that. Sometimes, having it right is way better than having it now.
I laughed. We drove from Dallas to Roswell recently coming back from a trip.
Yeah.
And I think my son said 3 words the whole trip. And we got home and I asked my wife, I said, I'm pretty sure he broke TikTok because there's no way there's any more videos for him to watch.
Saw it all.
I don't know how there's anything new.
Yeah.
But that's who we live with now. That's literally, but that's the society we're in, and those are the kids that are coming to school.
Yeah,
right
we're phone zombies.
But
the adults are just, all of us are. Yes, it's younger, but
the adults are
guys
the adults are no different.
I don't know how many times I sit in restaurants where it's like there's no conversation going on, just 2 people on a phone for 30 minutes.
I have made a purposeful effort whenever I go out to try to put my phone in my pocket and not touch it, and then sit there kind of like I'm better than everybody else that's on their phone. So
but we were raised in an environment that when you're at a meal, there's etiquette. You're not going to sit down and write a letter while you're having dinner. Why would you be getting on your phone? You know what I mean?
But etiquette, the norms and standards of some of those things have been redefined. But
I get if you're by yourself eating meals, and maybe that's one thing. But yeah, if you're, dare I say, on a date and you're on, you're probably taking a lot of dates because you aren't getting a second.
Lots of first dates. Lots of first dates.
Anyway, I got way off track here.
Oh, we're good.
Bring it, school board stuff. Let's talk some highlights from the meeting that we definitely want to get on people's radar. I know we got a little philosophical.
We're good. And I tell you what, we had just some basic recognitions. A young lady that had qualified for a music scholarship up in Santa Fe. We had the Goddard High School Skills, their report back from nationals. And then we honored some of our counselors. A lot of people don't know that, but during the Ruidoso fires, we had a group of counselors that volunteered to go help.
That's awesome. Doesn't surprise me at all.
No, it didn't. And a lot of them didn't want to come and get the recognition, but
doesn't surprise me in the least.
No, but
you're not sending any surprising notes.
Great job there by them. Had Dr. Powell at our meeting last night from Eastern Mexico, Roswell.
Good deal.
Speaking in favor of a resolution from the board to support the GEO bond, which coming up, and I know they're going to come and talk to you.
Matter of fact, we had Dr. Powell on yesterday talking about bond.
Good deal.
They're actually, for them particularly, for those that the money earmarked for this bond for them will all be to the aviation maintenance wing. They're going to update and upgrade that so they can be truly on the cutting edge.
10,000 square feet. Yeah. Just 10,000 square feet.
Just
10,000.
And then I believe NMMI is going to be doing some more upgrading to facilities and stuff there. Now, the schools, the ones that deals with the libraries, I don't know which bond that is this year, but it's one of the bonds. I always tell you, vote, and again, Brian, and because they can just tell you about the bonds because of their positions, they're not technically allowed to say vote yes. I can. I'm just a dumb DJ, so I'm going to tell you right now, the bonds, when it comes to these bonds for your educational facilities, when it comes to these bonds for your libraries, when it comes to these bonds for seniors, just vote yes, because here's what happens. This is money. You're not going to see an increase in your taxes. These are bonds, and they put out to basically play the stock market to get extra money, and so they say, okay, we got some money. What can we do with these things? And that's what these bonds come to. People say, all right, these colleges want to use these money for these things. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
And that's all we're saying. You're not going to have to pay any extra money for it. You're not going to see an increase in your taxes. They're just saying, hey, we're going to give these money to these colleges to do these programs. Are you cool with that? And I'm telling you, be cool with that, because everything that they're doing is to make this community better. More opportunities for students, whether it's in the library, whether it's at the senior center, or whether it's in one of our colleges or one of our schools. Vote yes on every one of these. So, sorry, Brian, I had to do my vote yes speech.
Well, speaking of yes, the board did approve the resolution in support of that.
Good.
So we were pretty excited for them. Had a presentation on, so Nancy Lopez. We broke ground on Nancy Lopez last week. Give or take anywhere from a year and a half
the school,
to 2.
not the actual person.
That's true.
Just for clarification.
That's correct. New Nancy Lopez Elementary School going in directly north of Mesa. Excited about that. Then we're kind of shifting our attention to the next project as far as the planning phases.
Well, and that's life in maintenance. You go around and you maintain everything, and just when you're done, it's time to start back over at the beginning and do it all over again.
Well, the interesting one, and I did not know the ins and outs of all of this until getting into central office. The way the funds are distributed to us through the public school PSFA, Public School Finance Association, and Capital Outlay Projects. We have a timeline, and so it's like money in the bank. So we've secured the funds for this, and then we're going to go on and move on to the next one. So, and I know a lot of people are like, well, you haven't even started really, Nancy Lopez. Why are you talking about Mountain View? Because that's the cycle, and that's the way that works. And we've locked that in, and we shift our focus over to there. Mountain View's the new Mountain View is going to be built on the same site. We did that a couple board meetings ago, and had a really neat presentation on the design of New Mountain View and how we're going to be able to construct New Mountain View with Old Mountain View still right there.
Sure.
And combine the gyms and
just was curious because I know life happens and technology changes, drop of the hat and all that. Like when you started as superintendent and we see some of the remodels and redoing of these schools versus Nancy Lopez and these ones that we're breaking ground on now. Is there a vast technology difference already in that time period where things that you put in these first schools are now, I'm not saying obsolete, but there's better stuff to do it in some, because technology just found a better way? I mean, are we already experiencing that kind of thing, or am I too fast on that?
I would imagine give me about another 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And then I would probably run into something like that.
Okay.
I haven't encountered anything.
Yeah. I was curious because I know life happens fast, and I'm like, sometimes you build things, and by the time you're done, you're like, oh man, they already got technology that's kind of surpassed this.
Well, in your computers and your phones and different things like that.
Oh yeah, that one's different.
Yeah, but like we were talking last night about Mountain View being built in the 50s, and we were talking about the septic system that's out there, and is there one of the I believe board president had asked, has technology advanced to where maybe we're not going to have some of the issues that we've had with the older one. And Mr. Sanchez brought that up. He said, this thing was put in the 50s. I think we've surpassed and outlived the life expectancy of that tank.
Well, and ideally, I imagine they're thinking it's like, okay, we're now building a school in the 2024 here. Okay, if we want to the school last next 20, 30 years, what do we? And so I would imagine things like fiber, internet, things that are now kind of the nice things that have. They have to put these in because those are probably the only things they're going to work with whatever technology that hasn't been invented yet that we don't know.
Well, then you look at down the road on the horizon. So kind of in sequence: Mountain View, Washington Avenue, and then the fun starts. I've got 2 great big projects with the Goddard and a Roswell High, and we're talking anywhere from 10 to 12, 15 years, give or take. Could be anywhere in the neighborhood of 20 years.
Sure.
You get us into 20 years, Roswell High is close to 100 years old by that time. And that, like you mentioned, obsolete technology for buildings that we're just now building.
Absolutely.
You can't even come close to buildings that are 100
and I would
years
even
old.
argue technology not in like wires and electricity. I mean, the structure and the way the setup, the rooms are done, how they teach, like you said, 100 years ago versus how they teach now. That room may not be set up in a way that's conducive to that. Because we just do it different now, and so lighting. Some of it's the technology, but some of it's just physically. This room was built with a thing this way, and we don't do it this way anymore.
Well, skylights. You go into a lot of the newer buildings, and they've got skylights in the hall just for natural lighting. Cuts down on the electrical costs, et cetera, et cetera. There are no skylights in the basement at Goddard. They tried. It didn't work.
Skylights is not something they think to put in a fallout shelter.
If there is a skylight in the basement at Goddard, you have a problem.
What you're seeing is the people's pants legs and everything.
Multiple layers of problems.
Yeah.
Couple real quick ones. Just had some informational items about just basic school stuff, nothing off the top. Trying to go through here real quick. Had a couple groups that had qualified to go different places. Roswell High Chorus to San Antonio coming up in March. Roswell High FFA up to Nationals in Indianapolis.
Go kick butt.
Absolutely. We signed a lease. So the state police have taken ownership of current Nancy Lopez.
Okay.
And so we had to sign a lease with them and it's very minimal dollar amount. But got that done. Congratulations. Thank you to all of those parties involved. Again, with that project, that was huge.
I was going to make a joke about it. If you see state cops with extra rulers and stuff on them, that's why. It's because they just took it. But I'm kidding.
Tell you what.
They had Elmer's glue and stuff.
And I will say this. And they continued this. We have had state police officers that have just showed up at buildings, and they'll walk through. They hang out with the kids. I've got a video of when they were working on the Roswell games, and they were running the 50-yard dash, and the state police were there that particular day, and they raced them.
I was about to say, sometimes
they got out there and they raced them. So I mean,
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of embarrassing when a guy with 100 pounds of gear runs as fast as you do. You're kind of like, all right, I need to work out.
Well, and I watched the video before I saw the context of the text, and I kind of hit my head. I was like, oh no. And then I read the text and saw that it was a good thing, and I was like, oh, okay, but they are in and out. And when that does officially open and becomes a training facility for law enforcement agencies to come in and do real-time drills in an actual school environment.
We were talking about technology and evolution. You think law enforcement training hasn't crazily evolved over the those guys are implementing, and they need new resources and things just like they're in the same boat you are.
Yes.
They're growing and expanding, and their philosophies are changing, and they need the facilities to do that. So that's what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely. And the only other thing that I can think of, I know I'm getting pushed on time a little bit, is the I have a gentleman that does our videos for the district, and he started noticing, that the viewership kind of had started to drop just a little bit.
Okay.
And they weren't watching the full 3 minutes, et cetera. So we shifted over to a quicker, like a 30-second video, almost like a reel.
Gotcha. Going to TikTok or whatever, Vine or whatever it was.
It doubled the time people they were watching the entire thing, and then it doubled the amount. They once they saw that it was shorter, they actually clicked and watched it. So we're again, the thought there is we're just continuing to try to make sure that we're meeting the needs and trying to get the information out.
In a world where everything's handed to you now or a minute ago,
absolutely.
Attention spans do tend to wane a little bit when you're used to I want it now and I want it yesterday.
Oh yeah,
whatever it is. That's
yes.
That there's things that change when those things happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I still have more to talk about. I just didn't know if I didn't want to run out of time and miss those.
So. Gotcha. Let's see. We could do another minute or two here. If
Let's
you got something
go.
else you want to mention.
Oh, absolutely. We went ahead. So our adult meals, like if you come into the cafeteria as a parent, we did have to raise the price of our meals a little bit to stay in our compliance with the federal money that we do receive. So that did bump it up a little bit.
Cheaper than anywhere else we were going to get lunch.
Yes, it is.
Short of a PB&J at your house.
It is. Now, that does not impact the kids at all.
Right.
This is just simply
kids eat whether they, it's all, but if you're a parent, you want to come, we're going to charge you a few extra cents on your dinner or lunch here. So.
Well, I think it's interesting. This last summer, the summer meal program that ended on July 19th served a total of 114,407 breakfast meals in Roswell.
It's amazing, and I imagine they probably could have done more if you know what I mean. It's what they do during the summer is one of the greatest, awesome things for this community.
Yeah.
You don't realize how many kids get a meal every day because the RSD sets up in these parks serving meals, or at the school serving burgers or whatever. They do this every summer, and quite frankly, there's families in this town that probably could not make ends meet had it not be for the school district doing these things. So we're very blessed and thankful for it.
Well, and they said out there, like you said, they're out there. There's no AC. Maybe they've got a shade tree. They're in their full uniforms, and they graciously knocked that out. So we're super proud.
Maybe we need to work that a lunch lady fashion show where we can get some more breathable outfits for our lunch
Boy,
staff.
I'm not touching that one. I'm not touching that one at all. No.
We get some of our young students to design outfits and make a whole fashion show.
No, I'm not taking the bait here on that one. Not taking the bait. I would remind people in town, though, school is back in session. The blinking lights have a meaning. I don't need to see you get a ticket, and I really don't. I don't need 6 points off your license and your insurance going up.
It's too easy to slow down for an extra second and spend the extra minute it takes to get through the school zone because, to be honest, at best, you get pulled over against a speed ticket. At worst, you impact a life that you can't walk away from.
And
please don't do that.
And nobody wants that. So, and if you have an issue, you need to go to the school, you're running late, whatever, just please remember that, we have a job to do too, and work with our people. And if you run it, if it gets to an impasse, we're more than happy to intervene. But, like you said, let's work together and make this a really good year.
Absolutely. We're all, again, remember the end game. We're all here to make the best opportunities for the kids so that they have all the tools they need to make good decisions when you're retired and yelling at kids to get off your lawn.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Brian, as always, thank you
yes,
very
sir,
much.
Thank you.
Any other, if we need more than our normal thing or any, don't hesitate to let us know and we'll make that happen. So, all right, 8:58. Let's pause for a quick break before news. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Artesia General Hospital has welcomed cardiologist Luther Weathers to the team. Dr. Weathers is board certified with a subspecialty in cardiovascular diseases. He treats patients with genetic heart defects, heart rhythm disorders, heart failure, coronary artery disease, chronic high blood pressure, and other cardiovascular diseases. Call 575-736-8270 to schedule your visit with Dr. Weathers in Artesia or visit artesiageneral.com/cardio appointment. Se habla español.
It's hot, and Maze Lumber in Roswell is your BioGuard headquarters for your swimming pool. Maze is your headquarters for chlorine, including pool generators, and Soft Swim by BioGuard for your non-chlorine products. Maintain your pool this summer the right way for a season full of smiles instead of headaches. Let your pool sparkle all summer long with Maze Lumber, 115 South Virginia in Roswell.
You can count on Maze Lumber Company.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Alaska is the only state name that can be typed on one row of keys. Go ahead and try typing the other 49 states. We'll wait. Here's Mike Winters. Talk radio has landed on the all-new 106.5 FM KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. A powerful storm that has been pounding the Northeast Caribbean has now gained hurricane strength.
Tropical storm Ernesto packing 70-mile-per-hour winds just below hurricane strength as it passed through Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands with torrential rain, says the National Hurricane Center's Robbie Berg.
The big concern is even as the winds start to die down on those islands, the heavy rain will continue and likely cause flash flooding.
He says Puerto Rico could get 6 to 10 inches of rain.
And that can cause mudslides and rock slides as well.
The storm now moving through open waters. I'm Julie Walker.
And the newly formed hurricane now headed toward Bermuda. Prospects for an easing of tension in the Mideast not looking good. Hamas says it will forego tomorrow's Gaza ceasefire talks, while Iran refuses to give up its vow to attack Israel. Former President Trump has lost his latest bid for a new judge in his New York criminal case, Judge Juan Merchan refusing to step aside with sentencing set for next month. Vice President Harris facing more criticism for avoiding the news media.
It's not only Donald Trump who's complaining that Kamala Harris has yet to give a sit-down interview or hold a news conference since moving to the top of the Democratic ticket. The Washington Post editorial board says it's a political necessity for the vice president to answer questions from the press. It goes on to say that the media and public have legitimate questions, and she should face them. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has won her primary race in Minnesota, while in Vermont, the U.S. Senate primary, independent incumbent Bernie Sanders will face Republican Gerald Malloy in November. On Wall Street, stocks are mixed. The Dow 62 points higher, while the Nasdaq is down 41 points. The S&P 4 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Sudan peace talks aimed at ending the country's civil war are due to start today, but the government is not taking part.
Ceasefire talks without one of the two warring parties. It's hardly an auspicious start. The Sudanese government objects to the presence of the United Arab Emirates as an observer, accusing the UAE of backing the other side. But the United States, which is sponsoring the talks, believes the presence of both the UAE and Egypt is crucial to help ensure any agreed ceasefire actually holds.
The BBC's Imogen Folks. Japan issued its first ever mega quake advisory last week after a powerful earthquake struck off the southeastern coast of the country's southern main island of Kyushu. Though the magnitude 7.1 quake caused no deaths or severe damage, the subsequent advisory caused public unease about when the next big quake will occur. News and analysis, townhall.com. He's firing back.
Former President Donald Trump has informed the federal government that he intends to sue over the August 2022 FBI raid of Mar-a-Lago, saying it was conducted to interfere with the 2024 election. Mr. Trump's legal team is threatening to sue for $100 million, alleging that the federal government is guilty of invasion of privacy, malicious prosecution, and abuse of process. The raid of Trump's estate took place 18 months after he left the White House. It resulted in Attorney General Merrick Garland appointing Special Counsel Jack Smith to go after the former president over his handling of classified documents. Judge Eileen Cannon dismissed the case last month after ruling that Smith's appointment was unconstitutional. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
His campaign says former President Trump will be delivering a major economic address later today in Asheville, North Carolina. North Carolina handed Mr. Trump his closest statewide margin of victory over Democrat Joe Biden back in 2020. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tres inviernos. I lost the trill on that one. It's like my tongue would just like. Tres inviernos. Yeah.
Well, sometimes was the mouth dry.
It was a little dry, but honestly, I was right before that. I was just going to go radio. And that sprung through my head for a good split second. I'm like, no, don't do that. Just do the thing. And then the tongue didn't cooperate.
Sometimes it happens. Like I have thoughts and I want to do something and like in my head this is way funnier, and then I started to do it. It's not going to work. So I'll just stop.
I've out loud used the line from Trailer Park Boys. Sometimes you got to blame the thing up here.
So true. So true. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Yes.
Hope you're having a great day, great week so far. It's only the middle. If it's not going well, you have time to turn it around.
Plenty of time to either pull the nose up or tank this bad boy.
That's right. Or try again next week.
You make the call. I am absolutely. I think I might have a new celebrity crush.
All right.
I think I might have a thing for Ray Gunn.
The breakdancing Australian lady?
Kind of awesome.
Now, she qualifies as a celebrity crush?
I don't think so. But the more I look into kind of like her as a person, she has like a PhD in childhood education. Yeah. She's a dance
all this is like a social.
She teaches kids how to break dancing, but not for sport, but just as a way to get them off their fat keisters.
Yeah,
it's like just any form of movement is good. And
she's quite frankly,
awesome.
She duped a government into paying for her to go to Olympics to do that.
I think I want to go to Paris.
Do you think one of them might have watched the tape on her saying, is she any good?
Well, they picked her.
Like, they knew that she's still.
I think that it's almost like it almost feels like a troll from Australia.
It could be.
Okay, so here's my theory. So Australia got picked for the 2032 games or 2034, one of those. I'm not sure which one. And I think this all happened after or before all the IOC nonsense were cities were pulling out.
Right.
So I think that they're now stuck with it, and I almost feel like they sent Rachel as a troll. Like just, all right, you gonna do this to us then? We'll send you here.
And the weird part was, as far as an Olympic breakdancer, she's god awful.
Right.
But as just an average schmo, I've seen worse. I've seen worse.
And it's fun. She embodies everything that I didn't like about the Olympics, which is I'm just here for the funs. I'm just here for the lulls.
To be honest, I'm not mad. I legit enjoy it because I love when people trivialize things that they take way too seriously sometimes. And let's face it, sure, the Olympics and team spirit, love all that. But these are people running around throwing sticks, jumping over things, swimming in water. That's all they're doing.
I say that and think that have had that thought so many times where it's like we are taking so seriously something that we're calling a game.
Right.
It's like, can we just... That's why I love that Snoop was there.
Yeah.
Flavor Flav was there.
Yeah.
A little bit of levity into this otherwise like puffy.
I love all of that. My only beef was, I think I've seen enough Snoop. Can we, maybe give him a day off? Or just
No.
This is a little too much.
He's earning his $500,000 a
And
day.
for him, yes. But for me, as just the average person, one who likes, there's a thing, human beings, as too much of a good thing. And this is what humans do. You find something you love so much, and then you consume it, and then you make it a part of you. And next thing you know, you hate it. I'm afraid they're going to do that to us with Snoop if we're not careful.
This is you just explained Reddit. Like the entire reason Reddit exists. I love something. I wonder how much more I can learn about something. I bet that something has a subreddit.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you just pilled yourself.
Yeah. Trust me. I'm the kid that wouldn't drink Mountain Dew for about 20 years because one time I drank like a 12-pack at one time and got sick as a dog. And I was a grown man in my 40s before I picked up another Mountain Dew.
I drank so much Diet Mountain Dew, it had me on the couch. JD Vance. Extreme.
But yeah, I get, and that's just what humans do, and that's what I was trying to say with Snoop. You're giving us too much Snoop.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be at everything.
This is how I felt about him when it was the whole Snoop and Martha everywhere thing. Like they would pop up on the Bic commercials and then at the parades, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we get it. You can be friends with a stuffy white person.
This is what happens
Cool.
this is what happens when sayings like all that in a bag of chips. The first time you hear it, you're like, that's witty.
I like that.
And now, if someone
Right.
says it, you're going to laugh them out the room unless
Right.
they're doing it ironically.
Right.
But you know what I mean?
My mother,
that's humans.
My mother unironically talked to the handed me on my last
Exactly.
family
That's
visit.
a cool thing. And then when your parents say it, then it's officially not
That's
cool
why I'm trying to constantly work this Skibbity Ohio Sigma nonsense into my vocabulary.
And I think
so that my kids are like, well, it's not cool because Dad's saying it.
And I think that's what's happening to Snoop Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
Now your mom likes him. Therefore, it's not cool anymore.
Right. You took all the sting out of Snoop. You went and did it.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah. But anyway.
By the way, Ion in the chat saying, show off the shirt. I gotta show
It is
this
a
off.
fine shirt.
It is a Buc-ee's. It's not Buc-ee's. This is a Buc-ee's parody. It's actually here in Roswell. A screen printing place makes them.
Yeah.
That I will not name.
Go throw him a plug. I'm okay with
Moonman Printing. But so I saw this shirt on a like a YouTube video, and I'm like, I must have that shirt. Turns out it was like 20 feet away from my workplace.
Now the alien they use in this, I noticed it's got two snorkels. Is that creative license or is that to homage something?
I think that's just how they always have like the ear holes. I don't think.
I just never seen aliens with two snorkels.
Really, you've never seen like the two.
Only time I see that is like, what's those cartoons? Zorks or
Snorks?
Snorks,
Right.
yeah.
Maybe they had like uniquify their aliens, so theirs has snorks.
Well, tell them if they want to be legit, they need to paint them gray.
Well, I'll let them know at the next meeting. But I do got to shout out Miss Claudia from our sister station, Fiero 106.1. She got me this shirt for my birthday.
Awesome, yes. So it is a cool shirt. It is a very cool shirt.
Love it.
I want you to actually go to a Buc-ee's and wear it.
Right.
Right. Go to the Buc-ee's.
Well, and that's
wear
the
it
thing. It elicits a double take because people are like, oh, Buc. What the?
Right.
So it really, like the R even kind of comes into a B. So you really have to kind of like.
It kind of does.
look.
Like the font is Buc-ee's, the image, sort of the green thing as opposed to the chipmunk or whatever. What is Buc-ee?
He's a beaver.
Beaver. Okay. Whatever.
Like that's why when they're top selling products. I've never been to one. I'm dying to go to one. But
I've been
one
to one. Yeah.
top selling products is beaver nuggets.
Yeah, I've been to one, a small one, like where Kim's folks live, Wills Point, Texas.
Okay,
they have a Buc-ee's there, and they had a Buc-ee's there for years. But it's not the full on it's a Buc-ee's. You can go in and get a bunch of stuff, but size wise, it's more gas station size.
It's more like a come and go
than like a Costco Buc-ee's or whatever you got now.
I'm willing to make a pilgrimage to Amarillo because they're currently in construction of the biggest Buc-ee's.
They're just going to be malls.
The world's biggest Buc-ee's with 100 gas pumps.
Right, malls are going to go away. They're just going to be Buc-ee malls.
It's just going to be Buc-ee's,
and it's going to be 2 stories of Buc-ee's and so many T-shirts and various nuts and candies and bags.
Chow chow. Chow chow.
So much peanut brittle.
Jerky, but not even like jerky, but like thick cut, like bacon jerky.
What's that other stuff? The fancy beef jerky from Africa.
Oh,
biltong.
Biltong,
yeah, maybe some of that.
I know you got to get to your interview, but there's a company called Strive that makes biltong. They sell it at Walmart. The factory, the company, the actual headquarters of that company is in my hometown of Medill, Oklahoma. Population 6,000, and they put a worldwide manufacturing plant there.
Wow.
So now everybody in Medill and the surrounding area just works at the biltong factory.
That's right. Everyone's got a stash of biltong in their house. Kind of like green chili here.
I was a fan of biltong for a while. Although if you want a similar, it's very similar to that canned jerky that you get, like the dip jerky.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In the snuff can or whatever.
So it's more softer.
It's softer. It's more like dust. It's finer
dry.
ground. It's dried. Okay. It's dried beef.
Because I kind of like the more moist jerky.
The difference between jerky and biltong is that jerky is dehydrated while biltong is air dried. Oh. They literally just put it in a dry room,
let it rot,
and it just dries.
I'm sorry, age.
It ages. Yeah, and it gives it kind of a different consistency.
Yeah.
And
age is a fancy word for rot, just in case you didn't know that.
Right. A 120-day dry rot.
Yeah, we aged your steak for 2 months. They let it rot in a thing for 2 months.
They forgot about it. That's a real fancy way of saying reduced for quick sale.
That's right. That ends up on the and this is my age thing to this day, and this is how I think of that. When you go to the store and the meats that are, let's just say, getting close to the end, they'll slap some barbecue sauce and call it gourmet.
Yeah. We see it's a dry rub.
Yeah.
It's fine. If you just put a seasoning packet over the gray bits.
I grew up in an era where I think it was the 80s, where the national grocery store chain Food Lion got caught doing exactly what they were doing there, and it ended up on 60 Minutes or Dateline or one of these kind of shows. And for a summer, Food Lion was basically the Antichrist. You could not go shopping at Food Lion because everyone said tainted meat.
It's kind of like how an unnamed ice cream company that I won't say the name, who's also a sponsor here on the program, had to really work hard to regain their name after some bad press. And they've done a great job.
Yes and no. I think that brand in this part of the country has such a reputation that they could say, no, we got anthrax in here. I'll take a pint.
That's fine. You know what? You know what's best for me. That's fine.
New flavor. I'll try it.
You don't want to miss out on the craze. What happens if they bring it back as a redo flavor?
Right.
But yeah, that's one of those where one little bad piece of press can really just wreck you.
Absolutely. Some Chipotle
kill you.
Matter of fact, they just got a new CEO in Chipotle.
Ask the CEO of Sunland Peanuts.
Yeah. Well, look in the world now, like Harley Davidson. A lot of people boycotting them right now because they're hardcore customers saying they're going woke and all this. Yep. And so, this is the world we live in now. So, 9:17, I do need to get the interview going. So let's get you up to date on the weather. Spoiler, hot. Not as hot today, but more hot later.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We do have a little bit of tropical air moving in from the south and west, so we could see a few afternoon showers or thunderstorms today. Plenty of sunshine, though, and staying pretty hot. Afternoon highs at about 100. Overnight, some clouds and down to 70, and then dry air is back in place on Thursday. We'll be in the low 100s again and sunny, as high as 105 and sunny on Friday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 81 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity's at 49%. Winds are calm at the moment. We do, allegedly, have a 20% chance at showers and thunderstorms after 3 today. Mostly sunny. High of 100 expected with east winds at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, we're looking at clear skies with an overnight low of 71 degrees. Winds will be out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. For you Thursday, like I said, 103. Friday, sunny and 105. Saturday, sunny, 105. Sunday, sunny, 103. Monday of next week, 105 and sunny. 105 Tuesday of next week as well. So today's actually the cool one. They keep moving it back a day here, but and hopefully, knock on wood, we'll get a little rain this afternoon. All right, 19 minutes after 9, we're going to take a 2-minute break. Then we're going to play our interview we had with Dr. Sean Powell from Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. He joined us yesterday, talking about the bonds, talking about registering for the fall semester, all that. That's up next. Don't go away.
A bedroom is a quiet escape where I go for peace and comfort. This is Melanie at Glenn's Furniture. I know how important the most private room in your home is for your life and the lives of your family. That's why we offer a selection of bedroom groups that make living easier and more comfortable. Modern designs, bold curves, and stylish fabrics elevate your bedroom space. You'll find your new set easy to sleep on and even easier to own. Come see us at Glenn's on the corner of Union and Alameda, where delivery is free since 1953.
What made Roswell Hyundai the #1 used car dealership in southeastern New Mexico for 2023? It's simple. Great selection, great savings, and great people. Right now, the lot is loaded with all new Hyundai models, including Elantras, Santa Fe's, and Palisades. And with 0% on select new, 5-year warranty, and 3 years free oil changes on all 2024 models in stock. Now's the time to trade up and save big. So, what makes Roswell Hyundai the #1 used car dealership in southeastern New Mexico? You do. Come check out the all-new and used car supercenter only at Roswell Hyundai, 1909 West 2nd.
If you're missing a tooth or several teeth, a dental implant may be the ultimate solution. Implants look and feel so much like real teeth that you probably forget you have an implant. Maupin and Brown Dentistry is one of New Mexico's most experienced implant providers, with literally thousands of implant patients who are absolutely delighted with the results. Call Maupin and Brown today for an evaluation. You'll be surprised how affordable implants can be. Maupin and Brown, your choice for experienced, state-of-the-art dentistry.
This is Dallas Cowboys football 2024.
Prescott in the gun, runs it up the middle.
Only heard here.
Skinny post, walk in, CeeDee Lamb.
All season.
Pressure up the middle. He's hit. He's sacked by Parsons.
Saturday night, it's your Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders. Live from Allegiant Stadium on this Dallas Cowboys radio network station.
Pre-game at 7, kickoff at 8 on your official Dallas Cowboys station, 92.9 The Brand.
Playing dance music can help ward off mosquitoes. Now you have a reason to invite Pitbull to your next pool party. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 23 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Dr. Sean Powell back with us from Eastern New Mexico University here in Roswell. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Mike, and thank you for letting me be on the show this morning.
As always, love having you on here, and of course, it's a busy time now that semester's about to start here. Kids, so the campus is pretty busy right now in terms of a lot of activity, a lot of people walking and getting ready for the semester. So it's pretty busy right now.
Absolutely. Classes start next Monday, and so lots of enrollment is happening this week, and we'll take enrollment up through next week as well. So if you have an interest in learning what we can offer in terms of classes, either in the arts and sciences, just to get your general education courses out of the way, or one of our career tech ed programs, whether it's health science or tech ed, this is the opportunity to get started this fall.
Absolutely, and it's perfect for, like you said, and now, since the state got smart about, I don't know, eight years ago or so, whenever it was, everything seamlessly transfers in New Mexico now. So if your aspirations to I don't know, get a doctorate at UNM or something, everything you do at Eastern New Mexico University Roswell will transcribe, transfer with you to wherever you go in the state of New Mexico seamlessly. And I imagine it's pretty easy too when you go outside the state, but it's completely seamlessly if you transfer to another in-state institution.
Yeah, absolutely. And that common course numbering has made a big difference across the state, and taking courses that all the colleges offer because they have the common number, the same outcomes. And that was a big push and a big effort for all the campuses.
You know what the big difference is? That class is going to cost you about 3 times as much in, say, UNM versus here at Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. And Dr. Powell's like, but he's like, but I can say it.
I'll believe you.
It's
a
lot cheaper than here at Eastern to get that same class than if you go, elsewhere in the state.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So think about that if you're, making your plans. And I've never heard anybody say, you know what, I'd like to pay the most money possible for my educational experience, please.
Right. No, I haven't heard that either. So, no. And, talking about the financing here in New Mexico with the Opportunity Scholarship that the legislature and governor signed off on a couple of years ago, and then also the ongoing lottery scholarship that the legislature sponsors.
Yeah.
There's just tons of schoolship dollars out there for individuals.
Yeah. Money is not a hurdle if you want to get an education right now. And so, and that's so if we're putting bees in your bonnet, it's going to be busy this week, but this is a good week to come down, set an appointment with the counselors. They can get you enrolled. You can actually start the process yourself online right now, and then set up an appointment to talk with the advisors later today or this week. And who knows, we can get you enrolled, and this time next week you might be sitting in a classroom, getting ready for your next step in your journey here. So.
Right, absolutely. And just please call the number and get a line, or go on the website and figure out a way to get there and talk to somebody to get an appointment to get down there and talk to an advisor.
Absolutely. And then once that's done, march right on over to the financial aid office, get your FAFSA form filled out, and let them go to work and see how much more free money we can find for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And trust me, regardless of your background, your financial status, there's avenues to find money for you. It could be maybe from your curriculum, could be from past organizations you've been involved in. It could be no reason at all, just no one's applied.
You're absolutely right. There's tons of scholarships out there. The Eastern New Mexico University Roswell Foundation offers a lot of scholarships that are still available. And if you call our financial aid office on campus, you'll be able to find out about those scholarships. And just there's not really a reason right now that I can think of that someone shouldn't be pursuing higher education if they want to.
Even if you're a millionaire, you don't become rich by spending all your money. You know what I mean? It's like being smart. Use it. This is the time of year where time in your life where you're gathering and accumulating knowledge, accumulating things, and you're not, especially if you're, fresh out of high school or young in the world, most of us aren't rich. We don't got, we're trying to figure out, all right, where's the cheapest place to get dinner tonight? You know what I mean? And so take advantage of this. This is people, and that's it. If you're looking to improve yourself through education, there are so many hands on the other side. If you put your hand out to ask for help, there's so many people on the other side to grab that hand and help you navigate through that process with little or no income. As long as you have the dedication to commit to the thing, you'll find success, and you'll find that doors will open for you.
Well, and talking about that, the aviation maintenance program that we offer, it's one of 2 in the state that are approved by the FAA. A student can go through our airframe and power plant program in 2 years. They can get out, they can complete their A&P license, and once they have that, they can be hired locally at one of the maintenance repair organizations, and there's several on the Air Center, and we work very closely with them in partnership. And the students can get out of our program, go to work for them, and the pay there is about $50,000 to $60,000 a year for the first couple of years.
Absolutely.
And then if they want to, after that, they can move on to the airlines. And my understanding is that's over $100,000 for a qualified A&P mechanic with experience.
You're highly in demand, and that's the thing too. Like Dr. Powell's saying, you could literally walk out the door of the campus and walk right into a job across the street here. Or if you're like, no, I want to spread my wings, I know young people, I want to see the world. That career field is in demand on every corner of the globe. If there's people needing to get to other people. And you've all, and this is something I was just telling Dr. Powell, we all kind of, you see the news every night and you hear, especially around holidays, delays in this, not enough here. You even hear stuff from time to time about near collisions on tarmacs and things. Why is that? It's because COVID put a huge damper in that industry. A lot of people that were kind of on the bubble of retiring and stuff just flat out retired. Others that left the industry altogether. But there's a huge need for qualified people in the aviation industry, whether it's AP mechanics to air traffic control to pilots and everything in between. So you have something right here in your own backyard that, quite frankly, you have to travel great distances to get elsewhere.
Absolutely.
And you've got this job where you can write your own ticket on the other side, whether you want to be here close to home and raise your family here and be close to everybody, or if you're saying, no, I'd like to, see the world and, do that. And if you want to see the world and then turns out the world wasn't what you thought it was, you come back home, guess what? More job. It's right there waiting for you. It really is. You're setting yourself up for success wherever you go. In the aviation industry, of course, Dr. Powell and I are both military vets, so we kind of, I know my world was, I was a bomb loader. I worked on the flight line every day, and by the way, the only other way you can get the quality training and everything we're talking about through aviation maintenance is pay a bunch of money at some big fancy schmancy, institution. Sign your name on a contract with Uncle Sam saying you're committing 4 to 6 years of your life in the United States military. That's the other way to do that. Right. And so, weigh your options there. And so you can get it here. And like we said earlier, if you play your cards right, very little money out of your pocket if we, shake the scholarship tree here and work on some of this stuff. We can, you could become get your AP mechanics license and write your own ticket. And like Dr. Powell said, $50,000 to start right out the gate, a couple years under your belt, you're making 6 figures, wherever you want to. And it's really great. And to be honest, you're learning skill sets that translate to other things. Once you get the mechanical inclinations that you learn, next thing you know, I can fix that at my house. I could, you know what I mean? You're setting yourself up for success outside of your job too.
Absolutely. And the way it's set up right now is if a student comes in, spends the first year with us, and then they can get licensed either in the airframe or the power plant side. Once they have that license or certification from the FAA, then they can get hired by one of the local MROs, the maintenance repair organizations, work, and the organizations that we partner with understand the needs of the students because they want them to be fully licensed A&P mechanics.
Sure.
So after a first year of schooling, take that FAA portion of the licensing, get certified and licensed in either airframe or power plant. You're working, you're going to school that second year. At the end of the second year, you're ready to test for the full license, and then they'll hire you full-time and increase your salary across the board. So not only can you make good money when you graduate, you can make good money while you're going to school.
Absolutely.
And that's the partnerships we have with those MROs.
Yeah, because like I said, these industries, these companies, they want you. You're in demand. And if they can get a hold of you while you're still in the process of that's a win-win, because now they know they're getting their quality employee. They can kind of train you a little bit to their procedures and policies and the way they do things. At the same time, when you get your certificate or your degree at the end of the day, you walk right out of the campus, walk right into that building, and set up shop at your new job there. It's seamless transfer. You don't miss it. It's really you're setting yourself up for such success and creating your own opportunities here just by doing something like this. And trust me, the way they train these things, you don't have to have this extensive mechanical background behind you. If you have a desire and an interest and willing to put in the time to learn, they can teach you. So you don't have to walk in there, like if you're like, what's a carburetor? Okay, we got a lot of training to do, but you know what? We can get you there, Right. By the way, you don't need to know what a carburetor is for an airplane, but I'm just saying if you don't know nothing about mechanics, they are the program, the way they train, the way they do it. You don't know what a simple as a wrench. So, what's a monkey wrench? All right, we'll learn you on what that is.
Well, and that takes me back to Shepherd Air Force Base in '78 when we had that block training schedule and 2 weeks of hand tools.
Yes.
Because everybody has to start from ground zero.
Yeah, they really do teach from the lowest common denominator, and so granted, if you've been turning wrenches your whole life, you'll be able to help students probably in the first couple of chapters, their lessons and curriculum classes. But you'll get, and trust me, so you don't have to have the background. If you just have the desire, the interest, and the dedication that it's going to take to commit to, because you're learning a skill. You got to be open to learning. You're going to a lot of studying, nomenclature, especially if you're not around that world. There's going to be a lot of new nomenclature hit at you and things you're going to have to learn. If you're willing to put in that time and effort, you're gonna set yourself up for big time success here.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things about the Air Center, we have the flights to Dallas now. The reason, or one of the reasons, there's several, but one of the reasons that flight to Phoenix, or the flights to Phoenix, went away was because of lack of shortage of pilots and aircraft maintainers.
Yeah, it's not a demand thing. It's a lack of resources thing.
Right.
Yeah. Trust me. They know that if they set it up, that there'll be people getting on that flight. We need more pilots. We need more mechanics. We need more baggage handlers. We need more, people working the ticketing side. I mean, all
Absolutely.
of that. It's right here in your own backyard. So,
and just so people know, the average age of aviation maintenance technologists, the A&P mechanics in the United States, is 58 right now.
I'm about to say, yeah. Well, and see, it's not even uncommon where someone maybe did 20 years in the military, in the Army or the Air Force or Navy or whatever, Marines, all four got aviation stuff. And then they go work for Delta or American Eagle or whatever, and put in another 20 there because, quite frankly, and here's the difference. Those guys learned everything that you learned and didn't have to, granted, after that, they 20 years, they've got a lot of experience on a flight line and probably, depending on what their job was, in high-pressure situations. So that translates. But you get all that here at the college, Okay, granted, they're not going to be turning a jet to get it ready for war, but there's going to be deadlines. There's going to be, this jet's got to be up in an hour. You've got to get that hydraulic pump swapped out here before it's ready to go. You get trained on all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And that brings me to another point, and this is the 2024 GEO bond. And both the Institute and our campus have requests for the 2024 GEO bond. This is a request to increase the size of our aviation maintenance hangar by 10,000 square feet. What we want to do is increase that hangar size and also increase classroom space and also specialized lab space.
Yeah.
Again, we've been working with the business owners and the aviation maintenance businesses at the Air Center, trying to figure out exactly what they need, whether it's composites
what parts of training that would benefit them the most. And so this facility will give you the equipment and space to do some of these specialized trainings that our partners are requesting.
Right, whether it's composite or electronics or avionics, whichever ones that we can work with once this bond gets passed. And the thing about the GEO bond, this is a tax-neutral effort. What happens is the state invests a bond like 10 years ago, and they do this every 2 years. Higher education has the opportunity to get money for capital projects. Our request is $5.3 million, and the request from the Institute is $2 million to do work on Wilson Hall, to do some improvements there. They're going to look at air conditioning and also some renovations inside.
They kind of, when they get these bonds, their mission, because believe it or not, some of the facilities and stuff are even older over there than
absolutely.
at Eastern New Mexico University.
Yes.
Roswell.
Yes.
Because think about it, Eastern, it's sitting on an old Air Force base, and so that closed in the 60s. Some of it hadn't been touched since the 60s. And then NIMI's been around since over 100 years, so some of those buildings are not only old, but are historic at this point. And so but they still need to do renovations, and because guess what? They're teaching modern students and modern things. They need modern educational tools to teach in the modern day. And unfortunately, 100 years ago, they weren't thinking of those things when they built these buildings. So a lot of this is upgrading and renovating it to allow them to get into the current century here.
And when you were reading OT 1, OT 2, OT 3, they probably need some more air conditioning over there in Wilson Hall.
Yeah, I was about to say, those are a lot of 1-aughts. And
yes.
Have you ever tried to learn anything when you're sitting at 102 degrees? You don't absorb much.
Pretty tough. But what happens with this GEO bond, the state puts a bond out, and then every 2 years, it's a statewide election. And the question is, really, do you approve these capital projects for the state? There's $230 million statewide in these projects. Chavez County is about 7.3 of that. And these are on the back of the ballot. There's going to be 4 ballot questions this year. The first one will be for senior centers. Second one will be for libraries, and that's all libraries.
And I recommend on those too because, like these bonds, it's not extra money. Like this is money that's earmarked. They're asking that's set aside. You're not going to see an increase in your taxes, anything. That's the thing is people are worried, well, now I'm going to see a tax increase. No, this is money that's already earmarked. We've already quote unquote, you're being taxed on it already. It's not going to be an increase in taxes. These are taxes you're already paying. We just need to get these bonds publicly approved so they can say, yes, we're willing to give Eastern its money it needs to do its project. And MMI, we want to make sure it's funded. And then conversely, same with these other bonds with libraries and schools. Those cover all libraries, whether it's your city library or the library at your college or your kid's school. And those monies earmarked directly for whatever resources they need at those particular libraries and things like that. Equally important. And same with senior. If same kind of deal, no increase in your taxes, but these are senior centers and senior related organizations that can benefit from this, get money for more programs or facilities so it's and again, you do not see an increase in your taxes. This is money that's already, it's been paid or being paid for. It's not extra money. You will not pay any more than you're already doing. You're just given the green light to allow these, quite frankly, public service institutions to continue and grow, to continue to do good things for you, the public.
Absolutely. And going back to that non-tax, what happens is the state just pulls a bond out of the market. If the election passes statewide in November, then the state will pull that money out and they'll take the interest and then they reinvest the principal. So they know, like this $230 million statewide, they know when they go through this process how much the interest is going to be. They've already calculated that. We have to go through a variety of applications and hearings in order to get here. It's about a 5-year process, and that seems kind of crazy, but that's the way these
that's
go.
Something, we should point out too, when you guys do come to the state for these things, they just don't say, okay. No, they put a fine-tooth comb for you guys, and finally, after a bunch of gauntlets and it went up and down chains, someone says, all right, we will authorize that dollar amount for that project at your school or at your institution here. And so trust me, I'm sure you guys probably have had this put on the list for years trying to get in there, and it kind of. I'm guessing is there some kind of like for folks who don't know, like your counties, your cities, they all have capital outlay lists that they and they change and update each year, and so if money comes out of these funds saying, hey, capital outlay, oh look at your list, we'll give you your $1 million for this project here. Do you guys have something similar like this for the bonds here?
So we have a facility master plan. It was developed in 2019. Okay. So this project that we're talking about was actually developed and thought about more than 5 years ago when the facility master plan was developed. And then it was presented to higher education last year. So we have to present it the summer before the election. It's a long process. It goes from a presentation in the summer of 23 to the 24 legislature for approval to be put on the list. The governor has to sign off on it. Then what happens is we have to go to the voters this November. That's why we're in this campaign mode right now for the GO bond, which will be on the back of the ballot, Bond 3.
I know it's going to be a presidential election, and so I'm going to assume and hope numbers will be record high for these because it's a pretty contentious election. We can all see that. Please, everything on that ballot is important. Please don't just check your president or senator and then not turn over the page, because to be honest, the farther down your ballot you go, the people and things you're voting for will have greater impacts on the day-to-day of your life. Granted, you may feel the top of the list is the most important, but I get it. But in terms of what your day-to-day is going to look like, the people lower down on that ballot and the things lower down on that ballot are going to have a much bigger impact on your day-to-day changes than someone at the top of your ballot. You're just pointing that out to folks. Pay attention. That's my point.
Absolutely. And when you talk about the GO bond, we try to use local contractors to the best of our ability. We have to go through the RFP process and purchasing processes that are approved, but we like to use local contractors. And so this is going to be $7.3 million in construction
and
in
as
Chavez
much of that
County.
as possible reinvested back locally here into our businesses and our community.
Right. So it's not just about improving the institution's ability to provide services. It's about economic development through jobs.
Kind of, growing back within ourselves here. And,
Right.
and again, by the way, every time that's more gross receipts. Your city and county coffers look a little bit nicer, when they do that kind of stuff. So it really is, by you voting yes, again, he can't say it, I can say it. Vote yes on these bonds. This one's bond 3 for the institutions here, but vote yes on these bonds because you are reinvesting back into our community by voting yes on it. Just like when these projects greenlit and they use these local, it's all reinvesting back into ourselves by you voting yes here. So if you're one of those folks that we don't have enough nice things, we don't have enough, and then you vote no on this, it's your fault. I'm telling you right now, you need to vote yes so we can continue to get more facilities, more amenities for all of our resources. You want the nicest library in town? I want the nicest library in town. You want the most amenities at your local college? I want the most amenities at our local college. You know how you do that? Vote yes here in November.
Well, and just tying it back to the early conversations, if we can get this increase in size and space, and we want to increase the number of students in our program, just like we're doing with our nursing program,
sure,
with the nursing expansion that we have state funding for, and we're using local contractors for that project.
Yeah.
The whole idea is, hey, let's create more opportunities for local people to be trained so they can go out, earn a living, a decent wage, a livable wage, and set up their careers where they can move forward in a positive manner.
Absolutely. And who knows? Some of those contractors and things, they might have got their training at ENMUR or Job Corps or one of our other local partners around here in town, too. So, again, more investing back into our community and our stuff by doing this stuff. So, vote yes.
Well, appreciate the support, and like you said, I can say vote on.
Yes,
I can't tell you how to vote.
Yeah, and of course, superintendent at NIMI and all the others will say the same thing. But yes, this is how we continue to make sure our educational and our facilities are on the cutting edge and staying that way. And so okay, you want to play the get off my lawn moment? Are you tired of traveling and dealing with delays and all that stuff? This is how you fix that one yes at a time by allowing Eastern to vote yes. Vote yes on this, allowing Eastern to really expand that aviation maintenance program to allow to even customize it for more better localization, but at the same time adding to the big picture too. So whether a student walks in and says, I'm just going to go from here to next door, or no, I'm going to take this and I'm going to be the next international pilot or, president of the FFA or whatever it is. Everything they needed to get that job done was right here in Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah. And, this last May, I've talked about him before, but our most senior graduate from this last academic year was a guy named Paul Miller. And Mr. Miller was 77 years old when he graduated. He joined the Air Force when he was 17, 18 years old, did a military career, retired, and got his A&P license while he was in the Air Force, Vietnam era vet. And then for 50 years, he basically traveled the world working on different aircraft. Part of that was military, part of it was civilian.
Well, if he's Vietnam era, he probably spent his head so much in an F-4. He probably knows an F-4 better than he probably knows some other things.
Yeah, that's my guess. But he found a brochure. The interesting part about Paul Miller's story is he found a brochure because he already had his A&P license, but he wanted to get his associate's degree because his grandchildren were getting it. But he found a brochure in 2002 on ENMU Roswell's aviation maintenance program. Because if you have your A&P license and you want to get an associate's degree, then you can do that just by taking 15 general credit hours with us, general ed credit. He waited 20 years. He carried that brochure around for 20 years.
Do this someday.
So finally,
Puts in the dresser.
Yeah. So finally, he did. And
that's awesome.
2 years later, he graduated.
And I love because in a kind of sort of way, the grandkids motivated him while he at the same time is looking to motivate his grandkids. And you know what I mean? Being an example for his grandkids. Well, at the same time, I'm willing to bet seeing his grandkids go through it probably said, I need to go ahead and finish this up. Or I need it. That was, I'm going to guess, maybe the final convincing to say, no, now it's time for me to complete what I wanted to start.
And it took him 2 years to do the 15 hours. He didn't do a bunch all at one time.
He's got grandkids now. That's a bigger priority. I'm sorry. When grandkids enter the picture, his A&P license was probably a second priority.
Yeah. But he didn't tell anybody. That was the whole thing. He didn't tell anybody.
He didn't tell his family?
He didn't tell anybody.
He did it all in secret. Oh, see, that was definitely to surprise his kids or somebody.
And he waited till the very end when he knew he was going to graduate, and then we filmed him at his home. He sent in a video, and we played that at graduation. And he was 77, wearing his cap and gown, and at his home talking about his life. And his main message was, you're never too old to learn. And
absolutely correct.
He just had a great career, and it all started with aviation maintenance in the Air Force, like we were talking about before.
So, any job offers for the man yet?
I think he's fully retired.
I'm just saying, the industry probably could use him. That man's probably forgotten more than half the people working on things right now.
Absolutely.
That is so cool, and I love it because it's such an inspirational story, and to remind folks, and I hope there's some people listening out there, retirees. You kind of looking for something, that you don't have to. Okay, you don't have to be this guy and say, no, I'm going for my associates. But you know what? Now's a good time to walk down and said, I've always wanted to learn ceramics. I've always wanted, I want to brush up on history. I should just take a history class. Or you know what? Maybe I've always wanted to write a book. Maybe I ought to take an English class or something to brush up and, get that. If you have a passion, Eastern can help you pursue it. Or if you're just looking for social stuff, take a PE class. Take an aerobics class or a dance class or one of the classes out at the gym out there. Get yourself physically fit and make some friends and do all that. It's you don't have to be pursuing a degree if you're just looking to get enrich your life in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's socially, maybe it's education, maybe it's just looking for a new passion, new interest, new hobby. Whatever it is, Eastern can help that too.
Right.
We always talk about young people and this is the step to get on to what you're trying to do, and you got to get. But if you're on the other side, like, I'm retired. I'm looking to get into things, and quite frankly, my kids are tired of getting in the way sometimes. I need stuff to do. Make Eastern that thing to do stuff to get involved. Who knows? And there's a lot of nonprofit stuff through the college too. If you want to get involved with maybe some of the pantries and stuff, there's a lot of student sources to help resources. Maybe volunteer time at that in between classes and stuff too. There's a lot of different ways to kind of enrich your life as a senior through Eastern New Mexico University.
Well, and I appreciate that, and I will just remind folks we are going to have the Turkey Trot again Saturday, November 23rd, the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Donations will be going to the Salvation Army and our food pantry on campus. We'll just split that up, and then the Humane Society will be benefiting from dog and cat food. So It's a 5K on a Saturday, fun run walk, and what we really look for in that is, again, donations to the food pantry or dog and cat food for the Humane Society. We'll be getting out more information to the community about that as we get closer to it.
No one's thinking about turkeys quite yet.
Thinking more about how do I get through the summer without.
Right, absolutely. By the way, with Salvation Army, don't forget, here locally, I think it's the second Saturday every month, they do their pancake breakfast out there. All you can eat pancakes and stuff for it's donation, I think like $7 or something. It's very cheap. But all that goes back to Salvation Army and what they do. So if you want a cheap, maybe cheap's not the right word, an affordable breakfast that really helps the community here, I invite you to, I think it's the second Saturday of the month. The second, they always do breakfast every Saturday morning out at the Salvation Army out there. Sure. So definitely put that on your radar. Eat some great pancakes, and it's like a whole buffet of breakfast. I'm like, how do you make money on this? I don't know, but and it's like $5-10. It's very, very affordable. So, but anyway, great way to support them too. But if you can't wait till turkey trot, right. Roswell.nmu.edu is the official website for Eastern New Mexico University Roswell. If you want to kind of do your own digging and reading about some of the stuff Dr. Powell and I have been talking about, you'll find it all right there on the website. If you want to start the process and enroll, look at the course schedule here. If you're already a student and you're enrolled, you can sign up for classes and do all that online too. You probably should have done it earlier. You had a better selection rather than wait until the week when everyone's trying to do it. But if you slipped on that, life happens. I get it. Get her done this week. You can do all that to the website, too. I also like to say, especially if you're a student and you're on social media, Eastern New Mexico University has a couple Facebook pages to follow. I highly recommend you like and follow those. That way, Dr. Powell's on one of them doing his chats from time to time and things. But obviously, anytime there's a closure or delay because of weather or whatever, that's usually the first place that kind of information goes to. So as a student, you want to stay plugged in, and that's a pretty good resource to do that when you're outside of the campus.
Absolutely. Yeah, Martha Stab, our marketing and PR director, does a great job with posting things on social media and putting things out, information on the campus.
And even if you're not a student, I highly recommend you like and follow it, because there's a lot of community-related events and community things that, you know, are for the public and not just people that call the campus their day-to-day home here for the next year or two.
Right.
Good deal. Is there anything we missed, Dr. Powell?
I don't think so. I appreciate the chance to be here again.
Anytime. And, of course, we'll talk more about these bonds here between now and November. But just note that if you this is how great things happen at these institutions. This is how we get the cutting edge. You see the aviation industry and where it's at now. This is how you make your small part to come correct some of this stuff. Vote yes, because for Eastern's case, this bond's directly going into their aviation maintenance program to revamp, renovate, and add to the program here. So it's all good stuff.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it, Mike.
And we'll see you here next time, if not sooner.
You bet.
Don't work too hard. Stay cool. One-outs. Remember, they're all about us.
Right.
All right, it is 8:56. We're going to take a quick commercial break before news. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Jared Cirillo, we have learned an Eddy County man is arrested and jailed after being accused of firing gunshots at a local prosecutor's home. Tracy Demery has a long rap sheet dating back to 2002 for things like forgery, car theft, and tampering with evidence. He was out of jail on bond in a 2022 possession case when court documents say back this past February he drove to the prosecutor's home and fired through her fence toward her home. Police said Demery admitted to the shooting because he feels like the prosecutor has a conflict of interest because she's married to his probation officer. The New Mexico Environment Department is withdrawing a $1.2 million fine against El Paso Water as part of a lawsuit settlement, according to a news release from El Paso's water utility. In 2022, the State Environment Department issued the fine and 2 administrative compliance orders claiming that EP Water violated portions of the state's surface and groundwater protection regulations. The utility, it claimed, discharged raw sewage into the Rio Grande. The company contends that it did so due to a catastrophic failure of its pipeline system to prevent wastewater from inundating homes, businesses, streets, and in an effort to protect the public health. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
With your Cowboys Report, I'm Christy Scales. DeMarvion Overshown will get to hit Rams players in today's joint training camp practice. Wait till you hear what he was hitting last year when a knee injury sidelined him as a rookie. You don't want to miss this.
A true Dallas Cowboys fan is there for the journey and the destination. This is the season to make your journey count by flying through McAllen International Airport, the South Texas airport of the Dallas Cowboys. Whether you're flying down for McAllen's award-winning fall and holiday festivals, or you're a South Texas fan flying up to cheer the Cowboys on, make your journey as satisfying as your destination at the South Texas airport of the Dallas Cowboys. McAllen International Airport, above, beyond, at McAllenAirport.com.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
A standout in the Cowboys' preseason opener with the Rams Saturday was linebacker DeMarvion Overshone from Arp, Texas. He missed last year with a knee injury and was so happy to be back on the playing field.
It's kind of like been built up for a year, just waiting for that moment again. And when you take that away from a competitor like myself, you got to find little wins throughout the day. So it was times where I go in my garage and with a fly squad and just hit flies all day, just to feel something, reaction time. So, where I'm from, I say the country, East Texas, you got a lot of bugs out there, and you grow up with a fly squad, a grandma with a fly squad in her hand, and just work on your reaction time with swatting at flies all day.
You gotta love this guy. That's today's Cowboys Report. I'm Christy Scales.
Hey Roswell, summer's winding down, but the deals are still hot during the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event at the all-new Roswell Ford. Right now, get crazy low prices on all-new Fords and quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in stock. And top dollar for your trade. Stuck in your loan or lease? Roswell Ford wants to get you released, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. So you can drive a new Ford or quality pre-owned vehicle for a lot less. For a limited time, get 0% APR and $1,900 in bonus cash on 2024 F-150 trucks. And make no payments for 90 days. Plus, we have a great selection of low-mileage, one-owner pre-owned vehicles, all in prime condition, starting at just $10,000. Don't settle for a low-quality, overpriced clunker. Buy a quality pre-owned vehicle from Roswell Ford for a lot less. Roswell Ford has partnered with the most aggressive lenders that will push to approve you today, even with bad or no credit. Lower prices, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience. Get on board at Roswell Ford with new management and a whole new attitude. 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell, or online at roswellford.com. 0 APR for 36 months is $27.78 per thousand. Subject to lender approval through Ford credit. Offers not combined. Sale ends 9/2/24.
Pressure Services LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has immediate openings for experienced vacuum truck, kill truck, and hydrovac operators. Operators must hold a Class A CDL, at least 2 years of experience, and all positions require a clean driving record and must be able to pass a DOT drug and alcohol screening. Pressure Services offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please apply in person at 2702 North Freeman in Artesia, New Mexico. Equal Opportunity Employer.
Roswell's home for talk radio is 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
First time in 4 years. Meanwhile, year-over-year inflation reached its lowest level in more than 3 years in July. It's the latest sign that the worst price spike in 4 decades is fading and setting up the Federal Reserve for an interest rate cut in September.
Correspondent Jeremy House. Measured from a year earlier, prices rose 2.9%, down from 3% in June. It was the mildest year-over-year inflation figure since March 2021. The government said nearly all the increase in the monthly inflation figure reflected higher rental prices and other housing costs, a trend that, according to a real-time data, is easing. Also at townhall.com, correspondent Ed Donahue reports on what Governor Tim Walz has to say about his military record and criticism from Senator J.D. Vance.
Vance made the comments last week, shortly after Vice President Kamala Harris picked the Minnesota governor as her running mate.
What bothers me about Tim Walz is the stolen valor garbage.
Vance questioned Walz's record and the implication he had served in a combat zone. Walz says he is proud of his service to his country.
You should